Good evening, Whittier Union High School District. Today we gather to address an issue that affects not just our workplace, but the very fabric of fairness in our communities. The pay gap between classified and certified employees. This is not just a conversation about wages, it's about dignity, respect, and ensuring that all employees are valued for their contributions. Across our schools and workplaces, we see a stark reality. Classified employees, those who keep our schools running, ensure our students are safe, serve meals, provide transportation, and support learning in countless ways, are often paid wages that do not reflect their essential roles. Meanwhile, certified employees such as teachers and administrators earn significantly more. While both groups play a vital role in education, classified employees frequently struggle to make ends meet, often working multiple jobs to survive. So how do we navigate through equality and close the gap? One, we can acknowledge that the value of all workers. First, we must change the narrative. It's not enough to say we appreciate classified employees. We must show it through action. The work of classified staff is the backbone of any educational institution. Without them, schools do not function. They deserve fair wages that recognize their impact of their labor. Two, we advocate for pay equity and policy change. We need to push for policies that ensure the fair pay across all classified. This means conducting wage studies to compare salaries and cost of living, implementing steps, increasing and pay scales that allow classified employees to earn a living wage. Three, creating pathways for growth and recognition. Fair wages also means fair opportunities. Many classified employees will have the skills, experience, and dedication to move into higher paying roles. We must support professional development programs, tuition assistance, and promotion opportunities that allow classified staff to advance in their careers. In conclusion, the time for change is now. Equality is not just an ideal, it's a necessity. Closing the pay gap between classified and certificated employees is about creating a just system where every worker is valued and compensated fairly. No one should have to choose between paying their bills and serving their community. Let us move forward together, using our voices, our votes, and our collective strength to ensure that every employee earns a livable wage. Because when we fight for fairness, we uplift not just workers, but the entire system. Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, I need to Mr. France if AI did not write this. Hello, everyone. Thank you to the Board of Trustees and the Cabinet for this opportunity to share in our common cause, union. Union is a concept we rally behind with pride when we boast the name Whittier Union High School District and when we boast the name California School Employees Association. Our strength is in our numbers, a strength we rely on as we face the next 4 years, as we face the support, or lack thereof, of this presidential administration and the Department of Government Efficiency. Last time, I spoke about bringing unity back, and I appreciate Ms. Canchola questioning why I don't see that unity. Last year, our chapter didn't see unity in support of the demands we brought to the bargaining table. The board was split in its decision to support us. Several of our members from our negotiations team left our team, and our chapter president got cooked. Not the most comforting sequence of events ahead of the next 4 years. I promise this is printed large. Each site has its issues we're all working on, issues that don't necessarily define a general problem, just the day-to-day challenges of working in a school district. Challenges that maybe not all of you see as you serve your positions, not necessarily on site, not at the table for grievances, and not at the bargaining table. And through all of this, for my bargaining unit, feel free to disagree with me on this too. We've lacked visibility. And there's uncertainty about the direction of leadership everywhere. But what is visible is the will to work together, the will to unite with our students and staff as we face declining enrollment, declining funding, and deportation, the right to work, the will to support one another, the will to bring ideas to the bargaining table that enrich and protect the lives of our staff. It's been a pleasure to work with Kristen and Ann. It really has. I mean, it's President Barack Obama said, "Hope is not blind optimism. It's not ignoring the enormity of the task ahead or the roadblocks that stand in our path. It's not sitting on the sidelines or shirking from a fight. Hope is that thing inside that insists, despite all the evidence to the contrary, that something better awaits us if we have the courage to reach for it and work for it and fight for it." This weekend, SEIU will be marching on LA City Hall to protect the same entity we all rally behind. SEIU is one of the major labor unions in our state and country, supporting the public sector and teachers in LAUSD, and they are facing 172,017 layoffs. Think we aren't next? Little Lake already got hit with layoffs, and they're next door. Our employees, our students, our existence. Can someone tell me what's efficient about unemploying members of our community, about taking roofs off heads and food off our tables? Yes, I'm referring to Doge. About stripping our children of their futures. It doesn't sound like a remedy for inflation. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said, "The future belongs to those who give the next generation reason for hope." There are forces greater than us that are trying to pull us apart, forces that want us to fight one another. But our existence relies on our unity. United we stand, divided we fall. There is union in Whittier Union High School District, and we are stronger as one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daisy.
It truly is wonderful. I'm so glad it worked out that tonight is Cal-I night. And to start us off, I want to introduce the director for the choral program, Mr. Dan Hawkins.
Good evening, trustees and guests here. Thank you so much for the invitation to perform for you tonight. Behind me stands the chamber choir, one of two of our choirs here at the school, our advanced ensemble. We're fresh off of our tour to San Diego a couple weekends ago, and had a great time there performing for a lot of different assisted living facilities and homeless shelters and such, and so it was a really good trip for us. So our first piece we're going to be singing is called Va Pensiero. It's written by the composer Giuseppe Verdi, one of the great opera composers of the 19th century, and coincidentally a song that has kind of become the quasi-national anthem of the Italian people. And while we're on tour, some of us were in one of the shops, and we found a shopkeeper who was born in Italy, but lives, now here keeping their shop. And so we sang the song for them, and they were like crying because they're like, "Oh yes, my homeland, and this reminds me of my home." So, so we got to experience that firsthand. So this is Va Pensiero.
Pensiero solo l'ignorante, ma ti possa seguire sicuri. O violenza, non temi dell'oli. Saluta muta versa cepenti neve more neve doracenti ci fa bella del tempo che fu. O simile dei soli mai fatti, trae un sonno di crudo lamento. O ti ispiri, Signore, concendo che nel fondo al patire virtù, che nel fondo al patire virtù, che nel fondo al patire virtù, al patire virtù.
Thank you so much. And our final piece also comes from the 19th century, written by Alexander Pascua. And it's a Romanian folk song. So the things we're saying are not actually words, they're just sort of like sounds to try to evoke the spirit of the Romanian folk piece. And we're headed off to a couple of our festivals and competitions in the next couple weeks. So this is the one we're taking with us to festival.
Cha-la-la, cha-la-la, cha-la-la-la-la, oh cha-la-la-la-la-la, ta-ra-pa-ra-pa. Oh cha-la-la, cha-la-la, cha-la-la-la-la-la, oh cha-la-la-la-la-la, ta-ra-pa-ra-pa. Oh cha-la-la, 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 oh cha-la-la-la-la-la, ta-ra-pa-ra-pa. Oh, cha-la-la, cha-la-la, cha la 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 la, ta-da-da-ba-da-ba, oh cha la la, cha la la, cha la 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 la, oh cha la 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 la, ta-da-da-ba-da-ba, cha la 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 la, cha la la, cha la la, cha la la, cha la la la, cha la la la, taka 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 tee, taka-taka-da-ba-da-ba, move.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hawkins. I would just like to have you at this time, if you could have the students introduce themselves by giving their name and their grade and maybe their voice type.
Okay, awesome. So over you.
Hi, my name is Charlie Gonzalez. I'm a junior and I am an alto.
Hi, my name is Rosa Holguin. I am a sophomore and I'm a soprano.
Hi, I'm Adeline Dumas. I am a junior and I'm an alto.
Hi, my name is Sofia Tia. I'm a senior and I'm a soprano.
Hi, my name is Hector Torres. I'm a senior and I'm a bass.
Hi, my name is Alison Orellana Mejia. I'm a senior and also a soprano.
Hi, I'm Ayeli Torres Pinto. I'm a sophomore and I'm an alto.
Hi, I'm Natalie Camarena. I'm a junior and I'm a soprano.
Hi, I'm Layla Rollins and I'm an alto.
Hi, I'm Jesse Perez. I'm a senior and I'm a bass.
Hi, I'm Joseph Amos. I'm a senior and I'm a tenor.
Hi, I'm Natalia Over Sanchez. I am a sophomore and I'm an alto.
Hi, I'm Daniel Medina. I'm a senior and I'm a bass.
Hi, I'm Toby Denoche and I'm a senior and I'm an alto.
Hi, my name is Ryan Theory. I'm a sophomore and I'm a bass.
Hi, my name is Ronald Lester and I'm a junior and I'm a tenor.
Hi, my name is David Gutierrez. I'm a junior and I'm also a tenor.
Hi, my name is Faith Tippett and I am a junior and soprano.
Hi, my name is Mary and I'm a sophomore and I'm a soprano.
Colleagues, do you have anything you'd like to share with our choir tonight?
That was amazing. You know, you guys are wonderful, and I could tell what voice you were tonight by your response and introducing your name. Hi, my name is Marlo. Hi, my name is. So the variation was great. It lifted me. It took me over to Italy. Took me to Romania. It really embarked or initiated an emotion inside, and I think that's what the effective choir is. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Medina. Thank you, Mr. Chair. After a very intense meeting and the closed session, this was perfect. So thank you for all you do. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Mr. Rodriguez.
I'd echo my colleagues' comments. It really was extremely moving and calming and just took you to a whole new place. Thank you for sharing your talents with us.
Thank you. Ms. Canchola, would you like to share?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to thank the students for their beautiful talent, sharing it with our trustees, and it was the best timing. So thank you so much for bringing joy to our hearts.
Again, thank you very much, Condors. Let me just pause and ask, are there any members in the audience who came, family members of our choir members or friends that are here to support the choir? Just want to make sure we recognize you as well tonight. Yes, please, stand up so we can recognize you. Condors, I agree with my colleagues. You were very moving. I can see why folks have cried at hearing you sing, because it is very moving. And so thank you so much for sharing your gifts and talents with us tonight and for starting our meeting off on the right foot. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It is truly a pleasure to be here to celebrate Cal High. And thank you all for this opportunity to showcase our talented choir students, to introduce you to our featured senior student, Veridian Gonzalez, and to congratulate our CIF championship basketball team. It is truly great to be a Condor. I'm the principal of Cal High, and I'd like to first take a moment to introduce my administrative team, so I'll have them just stand up and say hello, starting with Mr. Aaron Downing, our assistant principal of guidance. Mrs. Shirley Jones, our assistant principal of business and activities. Mrs.
Adama Doniate, our assistant principal instructor. Mr. Tony Velasquez, our director of pedagogy. And Ms. Lynette Baltieres, our dean of students. Our activities director snuck in Mr. Alberto Flores, who runs our activities. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring on up my dear Viridian Gonzalez. Come on up, hon. So we collectively have chosen Viridian this year as our exemplar student for you to meet, and she has an incredible story, so I'm going to share a little bit about her. In 9th grade, Viridian, better known as Viv, started high school strong. She earned straight A's at the end of her first semester with coursework that included numerous honors classes. During the second semester, she fell very ill. She was hospitalized for a lengthy period of time and was unable to attend school or complete her courses that semester. Her counselor at that time, Mr. Matt Tremper, and her case manager, Ms. Carolyn Gomez, were in constant communication with the family to monitor her health progress, discuss her return to school plans, and ultimately provide the family with support and resources during such a challenging time. During the summer leading up to her sophomore year, she interviewed with Ms. Lori Thomas and was accepted to one of our school's 5 California Partnership Academies, the Cal High Health Academy. When she returned to school in the fall of 10th grade, she was very weak and wheelchair bound, with a one-on-one instructional aide assisting her. This did not stop her from picking up where she left off. She began her Health Academy courses and persevered despite her limited mobility in this hands-on setting. She excelled in all of her classes, all while working with numerous specialists as outlined in her IEP to gain her strength and mobility back. By 11th grade, she was out of her wheelchair and had the majority of her credits made up to get back on track for graduation and A through G university admissions requirements. Viv also became heavily involved in the Health Academy HOSA group, which is our Future Health Professionals Leadership Group, who plans events and fundraisers that benefit our academy. During her 11th grade IEP meeting, she was exited from many of her services because of her drastic improvements, but she still has access to resources and support as needed, such as regular check-in meetings with one of her IEP team members, both Ms. Carolina Torres and Randy Martinez, who've been strong advocates of hers and supporters of hers over these last few years. She is now a senior with a cumulative GPA of 3.5 and is currently in the Health Academy nursing course, where she is building necessary skills and applying them in a clinical setting as she works with her patients. Through this course, Viridian will be given the opportunity to take the Certified Nursing Assistant, or the CNA exam, this spring. Her counselor, Aubrey Garduno, recently met with her to discuss her plans for the future. She's excited for her CNA experience and plans on using her future certification to gain exposure to the various career paths in healthcare, and then pursue a college degree. She is looking to enter Rio Hondo College to begin her undergraduate work this fall. It has been an absolute pleasure and honor to have Viridian Gonzalez as part of our California High School Health Academy, and to watch how much she's grown personally, physically, and academically over her 3.5 years as a student here. We are so very proud of her efforts and that she has put in to truly be the best she can be. She is the epitome of resilience and perseverance, and an example of what it means to have condor pride. And with that, I introduce you to Ms. Viridian Gonzalez.
I would like to start by saying thank you to those who honored me with this recognition. I saw the start of high school as an opportunity to have a fresh start, a new start that had brought me from my previous struggles. Even with the reoccurrence of my illness during my freshman year, I was still able to find that start here at Cal High. I had a strong support system with me throughout my academic years and my personal life as well. Having teachers and staff members throughout the years at school gave me continuous support and encouragement, with one of them being Mr. Martinez. He has been a massive source of support for me during my overwhelming situations and has been very encouraging of me for my decisions. I would also like to mention my mom for being there with me, because these struggles were not only for me, but they were also for her. She was with my side throughout the whole entire time. I'm extremely thankful for all of the help that my family and I received throughout these past years. Thank you.
Grady, and you're an amazing student. You've come a long way and faced a lot of obstacles, and I can see why you're held up as a model of resilience. Let me pause right now. I know my colleagues are going to want to share some thoughts with you, but could you recognize any family members maybe that are here to support you or friends?
Yeah, so I brought my brother and my two parents. They've always been around me the whole entire time, especially my mom, who was with me, my caregiver, for 24 hours a day, and she's been with me with my side since I'm 9 years old. And she's been a really big supporter of me as well. And as well as my school staff, my case managers, my aides, and Mr. Martinez, my school psychologist. They've been a really big help to me as well.
Thank you for recognizing them, and if they could stand and be recognized, we'd like to show our appreciation to you. Colleagues, do you have any words that you'd like to share with our students? Yes, go ahead.
You're an inspiration, Ms. Gonzalez. You know, what makes you very special that people don't get till after high school is that you know how to overcome obstacles and be persistent and persevere. That's a very special thing. Knowing adversity and fighting through that is quite a task. You know, I also applaud you for going into health and nursing, because that shows that you want to care for other people and you want to bring people up from where you were at one time. My sister did the same thing. She was a nurse at Rio Hondo. She got her degree, she got her BA, she got her master's, and now she's a director of a health program, the health program in Idaho. So going into nursing has so many variations to go, and the fact that you know what it's like to tackle an obstacle, I'm very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wilbur.
Yeah, again, congratulations. Thank you, Principal Jones, for introducing Ms. Gonzalez. I appreciate it. I'm not going to talk about obstacles. I'm going to talk about challenges. You know how to get it done. It's that simple. You know, you're a problem solver. You know how to get it done. You can do great at Rio Hondo College and move on. But here's my advice: be careful with the private vocational schools. They might charge you $40,000 to $60,000 for a nursing program. Be careful with that. Okay, if you can get into a community college or maybe a university for a nursing program, do it. It's a lot cheaper and it's more fun. Okay, and I just want to, thank all the teachers, the counselors, and everything, just to, for that support as well. So, congratulations.
Thank you. Ms. Controla, would you like to share some comments with Grady?
Yes, Ms. Gonzalez, I just want to congratulate you for your fortitude. I can tell that you have a humongous spirit of triumph. I believe there's no accidents in the universe, and although you went through some health issues, I think it just made you more empathetic for the patients, the future patients that you'll be working with. And in terms of perseverance, you've already shown quite a bit. So I know that you would be truly successful, and I'm actually grateful that you're really contemplating the health area as a future area of professionalism, because you're going to do some really great work in a place that is really needed. The best of luck to you, and actually you don't need luck because you've already shown that you're very talented. So wishing you the best in everything that you pursue. Congratulations on having a solid GPA in spite of it all. And congratulations to your parents and your family members that are there to support you, because I think they're a reflection of who you are as a person. Congratulations.
Thank you. Vice President Rodriguez-Winston.
Viv, I'll call you Viv. I think that's what I've heard your nickname is. Your strength, your resilience. You're going to do amazing things. Thank you for sharing and also for pursuing this incredible career in health, because all of us at some point or another are going to probably call on you to say, hey, can you come be our nurse and take care of us, and to have somebody who's been through so much. I want to say thank you to your mom and your parents. Muchas gracias. I know how hard it can be to have a child who goes through such difficult challenges, and you're so scared and so worried, and you're not sure what's going to happen and what life they're going to have. But look at the incredible individual that you have helped raise and who will go and do incredible things. So I also want to say thanks to your mom and your dad and your family. Muchas gracias por todo lo que han hecho por ella. So thank you, and best of luck, and we look forward to seeing you at PIH Health, and being, nurse or doctor, whichever one you want, so go for it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Viv, I stand in agreement with everything my colleagues have already shared, and the only thing I will add is also to echo my colleagues' thanks of your family for being your caregiver. That's love incarnate, and to be able to be surrounded by that in your moment of need gives you the strength now to be able to provide that same level of love and care to your future patients. So I know you're going to make a wonderful nurse, and if you could meet me in the front of the dais, I have a certificate to give to you on behalf of the board, and then we'll take a few pictures.
So should the board, so colleagues, if you could join us for the first picture, and then we'll transition to the Cal High team, and then the family, of course. We'll be taking a few pictures if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Great. First one with the whole board?
Yes, entire board, please.
Entire board, if you can join me here, that'd be great. Come on in. She'll situate us. Right, Amanda?
Yes.
Love your shoes.
Thank you.
That style.
Okay, ready?
Should we have to put something on? Ms. Controla, you can be with us too.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's do one more, just for safety. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Okay,
Congratulations.
so we can get your family next.
Thank you. Your families.
If we could have Viv's family come on. And after that, it'll be the Cal High family.
Thanks for the birthday card.
Okay, ready? Here first, and then we have one other one. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. We do one more. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry.
And now if we could have the Cal High family, all Cal High family, counselors, everyone that supports this. All right. Thank you so much. Go on in. Get in tight. Everybody at an angle.
Okay, can we get maybe a couple people up front just to kind of do like a second row dance? Second row if you were there we go.
Schreiber, you don't want to Schreiber. Come on, Schreiber. Just come right in here. Hi. I need out of here, huh? You got one more. I need out of here. You gotta come.
Okay, ready? Ready, guys? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay,
One more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Beautiful.
Thank you. Mr. Wright, does anybody care?
Check on his medication.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. So now, we will transition to our next item, 8.02, recognition of Cal High Boys Basketball Team CIF SS Division 4A champions.
Our head coach is also a social science teacher at Cal High, Mr. Joel Simon. Other faculty on our coaching staff, Mr. Brian Dayton, our science teacher. Also a math teacher, Chuck Robles. Great test, Mr. Rubio. I don't know your first name, Mr. Rubio. Coach Rubio. It's Coach. And these guys have all successfully become the champions of CIF Southern Section Division 4A. So we have been displaying their plaque in the principal's office this week. It's been nice to have visitors come and check that out. So would you like some words from our coach?
Yes, please.
Well, unfortunately, we haven't been practicing anything to sing for you guys, so we're going to spare you that. But I want to congratulate these guys and just for making history. It's an unbelievable honor that we were able to accomplish together. Long season, you know, we played 4 weeks longer than we normally would, and they were about as locked in the last 4.5, 5 weeks as we could imagine, or as much as we could ask. And you know, it's definitely an honor to be able to hang a banner in the gym that will have their names on it, that will forever cement their place in history. And you know, to be a small part of what these guys accomplished was the honor of a career. So, thank you.
Coach, at this time, I believe we have certificates for each of your team members, and we'd like to have your help in being able to call in. But before we do that, I wanted to check in with my colleagues, just see if they would like to share a few words of thanks and appreciation. So, colleagues, would you like to share a few words for our champions?
You know, I prefer to do it after they introduce themselves, and
That's a good
so
idea.
I can feel the energy.
I'm fine with that, thank you. Coach, please proceed.
You want to come up here?
Yes, actually, but when they come up, have them come up and get their certificate, and then they can line up here, and then they can remain here until we take pictures.
All right, so we will call them up in order of importance. We'll start with the brain trust, the brains behind the entire organization. Coach Barber and Coach Dayton, come on up. we have Coach Chuck Robles. My class of 1984. Hi, Coach. Bye. Coach Edgar Rubio. All right, and the guys that did all the work. Here we go. Aaron Anderson, senior. Another senior, number 21, Edgar Beltran. Senior, number 0, Darius Cabrera. You'll notice there, the captain holding the plaque there. Darius's little brother, the 5th Cabrera to come through, Phoenix Cabrera. Sophomore, Jason Davis. He's going to bring a speech. Jeremy Dayton. Sophomore, Jacob Dominguez. Another sophomore right behind him, Joshua Falatea.
Smile.
Another sophomore, Adrian Galvez. Junior, Jacob Linares. And his little brother, sophomore, Jair Linares. Senior, Ethan Lopez. Sophomore, Jonathan Martinez. Senior, Ian Mendoza. Sophomore, Ahamafule. Senior, Kenny Renfro. Junior, Andy Rodriguez. And sophomore, Andy Rubio. So you'll notice we have about 1 million guys on our team. And I make no apologies for that. I love each and every one of them for what they brought to the table. And you'll notice we had a lot of sophomores, so hopefully we'll be good next year as well. Cal High 2025 CIF champions.
While we take some pictures.
I think we're going to need you guys to kind of like funnel in a little bit, so if we can start a second row, and then just make sure that we have like a window for everybody. So, okay.
You guys are used to this. It's not like our first time.
Yeah, right in between them two. Right in Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Just a little bit more. We're kind of sitting over here too, when you're on the end.
That looks good. Yours are perfect right there. Here's the gap type. And then
Turn to us right.
over here. Okay, sorry boys. You guys are gonna have to take a knee.
Yeah, take a knee.
They're gonna take a picture right here.
Your knee, one knee. Take a knee.
One knee, yeah.
There we go. Just hold it for a couple minutes, guys. Ready? Smiling? I'll be the first one and we'll give a few more to filter through, okay? Okay, ready, guys? All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, ready? Right there. Keep smiling, big smiles. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Don't move after this.
Hey, one more.
Stay.
We forgot the man. We forgot.
Get in here, Tim.
That's on me. That's on me.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
And then hold it for the parents. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys. 1, 2. Okay, one more, guys. 1, 2. Oh, bye-bye. Okay. 1, 2, 3. To close this out, can I just get away from everybody for like 3 seconds? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Audience, cheer. Come on. Thank you all so much.
Wait, the board take a picture with them. Hold on. Cody Simon loves to take pictures.
Is the board coming or? Here comes the board. That's you. Oh, the board. Don't forget these guys. Thank you. There it is.
You guys have to bring it in a little more. You want to go on this side?
This seat. You guys do the seat?
Take a knee. It's okay.
Okay, ready, guys? 1, 2, 3.
Can they see you guys? Because I'm kind of tall.
Can we do one more cheer with the board in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, ready, guys? 1, 2, 3.
See you again next year.
Repeat.
Thank you again. Thank you for bringing me.
Okay.
Really ends up very moving story.
Yeah, definitely.
I know. I feel like I just graduated because I'm good at the focus.
At this time, I'd like to invite my board colleagues to share any comments they have for our team, our champions. So I'll start with Ms. Canchula. Would you like to share some words of congratulations with our team tonight?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. You know, when I learned that they had won, because Dr. Oviedo was keeping tabs on the scores on sending us messages, and I was so excited when I could see that the numbers kept going up and that our team was winning. And so
She's so excited she froze. Well, she
I put them all over our local social media, and you should see them. You should be. Can you hear me?
Yes, right.
Sorry, can you hear me? Okay, yeah, I was saying that when I learned that our young men had won, I posted it all over our local social media, and you should see how many beautiful comments we have from the community. Everybody's showing a lot of pride, and so I know it takes a lot of hard work and dedication because they have to not only be good students, but they have to be good athletes and disciplined athletes, and all of that paid off, and now you're the champs. The CIF champs. So thank you so much. We appreciate you. We're very proud of you. Continue the good work, and go to all of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Cachola. Also, those to my far right, Mr. Mendez.
So I was at a restaurant when I heard about the CIF, and everybody looked at me because I went, yeah! They didn't know what I was talking about, but I give you guys congratulations. You're awesome. This is going to be a memorable experience the rest of your life. Where you're going to be wearing your jacket till you're 50 years old because you got the CIF. So congratulations to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First and foremost, congratulations. Okay, champions. At one of your home games, I had a conversation with Principal Jones. I was pointing at the rafters, and I told her, hey, there was a missing first ever CIF Southern Section Championship basketball banner in your gym. I was talking about yours, okay? And now that we don't have this conversation anymore, the conversation now is about a state championship banner. So keep that in mind.
No pressure.
No pressure. Players, our job as district leaders is to make sure you all have a quality gym to practice and to compete, which you do. Have top-notch coaches, which you do. But if you don't have the drive or a win attitude, what's the point? Colleagues, I've been to a few games, and let me tell you, these players have the ganas or the drive which was on display this basketball season. They met or exceeded their opponent's energy levels, and that's why they are here today. Again, congratulations. You're all making the district super proud. Enjoy the experience for the rest of your life. Thank you.
Well, I echo all of my colleagues' comments. I played basketball in high school, so it's my favorite sport. Bless you. I follow it, I watch it on TV. I want to see which one of you is Luka, which one of you is Kobe, LeBron. Nobody wants to be Irma Rodriguez Moisa on the basketball court, unfortunately, so I was the shooting guard. But we are really proud of you, and thank you to the parents who are here supporting them and all the practices. And I want to share something with you about Cal High because this is Cal High night. And last week, I was going for my walk on the weekend, and my husband called me. He says, hey, we need some stuff from the market. Do you mind extending your walk to go get something from the market? So I go to the market, and I'm coming back with 2 bags, fully loaded, walking back, but I'm thinking to myself, this is my workout, okay? Then this car honks the horn, and this gentleman says, hey, do you need a ride? And so at first I'm a little suspicious, like, okay. But he says, look, my name is Adrian, and I work at Cal High. And so he works in your facilities maintenance department, and he gave me a ride home because he saw me with all of my, groceries that my husband had forgotten to tell me we needed that I was then going to get. But I want to say that that's character, that's caring, that's giving back to the community, and that's what your win represents to our district. It's the pride, it's the community, it's the character you showed to, pick up the game, score the scores when you had to, and make sure that you didn't have any nerves when you were going for those tough shots, and when you were boxing out and keeping everybody else from getting a rebound. So congratulations, and I look forward to the repeat myself so I can go watch a game next year. Congrats.
Thank you, colleagues. I just have a few closing comments that I'd like to make. First, I just want to pause and recognize any family members or friends of the champions that are here tonight. Please let us recognize you for sticking through with your athletes. Thank you very much for watching our athletes and supporting them at home and feeding them and making sure they had enough sleep and maybe giving them rides, late at night, early in the morning. As a former Condor, I'm so proud and so joyful for all of you. You've co-created lifetime memories for yourselves. And coaches, thank you so much for your sacrifice, your labor of love, and teaching them your craft and being able to promote sportsmanship and camaraderie. And gentlemen, you set the bar really high for us. What you've done is like the equivalent of our board getting Board of the Year at CSBA. And you know what? It could happen one day. It really could. You set the bar really high for us. So we're going to try to see if we can get recognition like you did tonight. But having said that, I will conclude my comments. And again, congratulations to all of you, and thank you for being here tonight. Did everyone have a chance? Our next item on the agenda is 9.01, community comments. And I believe we have one comment tonight. Is that correct? Okay, so at this time, because I understand the comment is written, I'm going to actually ask our legal counsel, Mr. Gallagher, if you could approach the podium and read whatever written comment has been submitted tonight. Thank you very much.
I can do that. Board President, can I be heard? Am I heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm reading a document dated Tuesday, March 11, 2025 at 2:23 p.m. sent by an individual with the email address Stephanie is who I am @gmail.com, who wrote, "As I am currently out of the country and cannot attend the meeting in person, I request this statement be read into the record as a public comment and as a constituent of this board. I would like to address my concerns on the issue of Gary Mendez serving simultaneously on the Central Basin Board and this board. It is important to consider whether holding these positions might affect his ability to effectively serve the district, its employees, students, and parents in a lawful manner. Can you imagine union employment contracts and many other contracts this board votes on being invalidated because of this conflict of interest? According to the doctrine of offices, Mendez cannot hold two incompatible offices simultaneously and must resign from one before assuming the duties of the other. Mendez should voluntarily resign or be forced to resign, even if that means we would have to undertake a recall effort. Furthermore, I am alarmed that he sits on any board while under investigation by the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office for criminal allegations of fraud, misuse of his former nonprofit karate organization, and tax-related issues. He is also being investigated by the Fair Political Practices Commission, a state agency, for a conflict of interest violation. The facts are that Mendez does not deserve to be in any political position because he has demonstrated a pattern of behavior that is criminal in nature and extremely unethical decision-making that goes back for many years. It is for the above reasons that I strongly urge the board to take action in removing Gary Mendez. Respectfully, Stephanie Vallejo, constituent. And that concludes the letter that I was provided.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Do we have any other community comments tonight? Okay, seeing none, move on to item 10.01. And with us tonight, our student representative from Cal High, Jocelyn Navarro. You have a student report for us tonight. You have the floor.
I just want to start off with saying thank you so much for having me here. I want to start off with our winter sports. As the weather starts to change, we bid farewell to our winter sports. These sports include our girls water polo, wrestling, pepster, soccer, and basketball teams. Each student put in a tremendous amount of time, sweat, and dedication into their sports, making them the amazing teams they are. Many of our teams placed in the top 3 in the league and advanced into CIF, like our wrestling, soccer, and basketball team. We would like to give a special acknowledgement to our boys basketball team, as we did earlier, that are now CIF champions and advanced to the first round of the state tournament. They are the first in our district to ever win a CIF championship in basketball. Their hard work paid off, and our school couldn't be prouder to have history makers walking through our campus. The next thing I would like to talk about is an event coming up that our ASB has put in much work, which we call March Madness. March Madness is a week-long event organized by our ASB to bring some fun, competition, and joy as finals and AP testing approach. It's a week where teams can band together and compete against each other. They can sign up to battle it out. Throughout the week, we have spirit days that align with the main games, which take place in our large quad during lunch. Teams have plenty of chances to earn points by dressing up in spirit gear and performing well in the games. In the end, our top 3 teams win prizes. We also want to acknowledge our academics. Our school has so many students who work hard each and every day to keep their grades up, especially those who go beyond by taking multiple AP courses. To recognize all that hard work, on April 9th, we honor the top 25 Condors in each grade for their achievements. It's a great way to celebrate their efforts and let them know that they are seen by our schools. So these are all the events that are going on in our school that we are really proud of our students, and we put much time into this.
Thank you very much. I have a question for you. You talked about the Spirit Day main games. Can you give me an example of like maybe one of the more notable games that you've been part of planning?
One game that we're really looking forward to that we came up with is we thought that a lot of us miss like games like our childhood, so we decided to incorporate some childhood games like Duck, Duck, Goose that kids could play, and students compete against each other, and for that day it's like you get to dress how you used to dress when you were younger. So it's like it incorporates both, as well as another game we make a racetrack and people get to dress in checkered because like the finish line is checkered. So we correlate it and try to align it so people like want to participate since they're already so stressed out from all the hard work that they do.
Thank you for sharing your report and giving us those details. I can tell you're creating lifetime memories for yourself too.
Yes.
Colleagues, do you have anything you'd like to add at this time?
A great presentation, Jocelyn. Thank you very much. Very proud of you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
And Jocelyn does have a 0 period AP Physics with Mr. Dayton, who that was here already, so we did tell her that she could leave out with us.
Yes, of course, you're excused. Thank you for being here, Jocelyn.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to our employee representative. Safe travel home. Thank you for recognizing Justin. That was my full report. So next we have item 10.02 of our employee representatives, and we'll start to my right with WSBA's report, Mr. Branson.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, family, friends, administrators, trustees, and honored guests.
Here, try this one.
Trade you. That one on?
Yep.
All right. Good evening.
No.
All right.
You're off. It took a while. Let's try now.
Check. There we go.
There you go.
User error.
It tracks. Good evening, family, friends, administrators, trustees, and honored guests. I'd like to thank all of my WCA members for joining me tonight. It is my privilege to speak on behalf of the dedicated and passionate educators who make a profound impact on the lives of our students each and every day. I'd like to officially and formally invite the Board of Trustees, Dr. Oviedo, and her cabinet to the Who Dinner on Wednesday, April 23rd, as we honor Darla Breiling, who is still here, I believe. There is a copy of the invitation on the dais. Recently, I had the privilege of attending a conference up north where I participated in a session focused on the role of AI in education. The potential of this technology to transform teaching and learning is extraordinary. From personalized learning tools that adapt to individual student needs to streamlined lesson planning that saves valuable time, AI is reshaping how we educate. It can offer instant feedback to students, reduce administrative burdens, and open doors to innovative teaching methods that were unimaginable just a few years ago. At one point, the presenter talked about a startup in Texas that has replaced teachers with, quote, learning coaches, end quote, who step in when students are done with their AI-driven lessons. Something tells me that she forgot she was presenting to a room full of teachers and union members who aren't looking to be replaced by their robot overlords. As educators, we have the incredible responsibility of not only teaching academic content, but also nurturing the character of our students. This is something that artificial intelligence cannot do. And at the heart of this character development lies two fundamental virtues, integrity and honesty. And as we work towards navigating AI, we have to teach our students these virtues as they both learn and grow as young adults. In a world where misinformation and shortcuts often seem more prevalent than truth and perseverance, our role in guiding students toward integrity has never been more critical. As C.S. Lewis so aptly put it, integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. It's about fostering a mindset where honesty is not a choice but a habit, where students learn that truth is the foundation upon which trust, respect, and meaningful relationships are built. When we teach our students integrity and honesty, we are preparing them not only for tests and essays, but for life. We are teaching them to be the kind of people who will contribute positively to their communities, who will be trustworthy colleagues and compassionate neighbors. We are shaping future leaders who will stand by their principles even when the path is difficult. Our classrooms are more than just spaces for academic learning. They are communities where values are modeled and practiced. It is here that our students learn the importance of academic honesty, the courage to admit mistakes, and the strength to speak up when something feels wrong. By embedding lessons of integrity into our curriculum and by modeling honesty ourselves, we create environments where students feel safe to take risks, learn from failure, and to celebrate growth. In the age of artificial intelligence, let us remember there is nothing artificial about the genuine impact of an educator who teaches with both excellence and integrity. Together, we owe it to our students, their families, and our community to lead by example, ensuring that the values we hold dear remain at the hearts of everything we do. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Superintendent, you have your report tonight.
Thank you. All right, good evening, family. Good evening, Superintendent, board members, and cabinet members. Whittier Union Adult School is more than just a place for learning. It's a launch pad for new beginnings, where education reignites the hopes and transforms lives. We're at the heart of transformation in our community. We open the doors to education, career advancement, and personal growth for individuals from all walks of life. In an era of economic uncertainty and political turmoil, we provide a second chance for those who once believed that higher education was out of reach. A fresh start for immigrants, building a better future, and a guiding hand for parents, workers, and dreamers, striving to create a brighter tomorrow for their family. Our dedicated teachers continue to empower students for success, strengthening their lives and our communities. At Whittier Union Adult School, we are committed to fostering a welcoming and supportive environment for all students, regardless of immigration concerns. Our teachers and administrators have worked tirelessly to reassure our students that they are safe, they are valued, and encouraged to pursue their education without fear. Our ESL program remains a beacon of strength and unity, where students not only excel academically, but also form a tight-knit community that feels like a family. Bridget Lish, one of our dedicated ESL instructors, proudly shares that her class had a 100% rate on the civic exam. This was only possible because they supported each other. They pushed each other to reach that goal. Beyond academics, the class is making life-changing strides. a special needs student who was initially hesitant about her independence, has now learned to take the bus on her own, determined never to miss a class. Her caseworker reports that immense growth in her self-sufficiency, numeracy, and reading skills, a testament to the empowering nature of our programs and our instructors' dedications. We're also celebrating career advancement and student success. In other areas, for example, our accounting course, Maria Chaires, who has been working at the Boys and Girls Club of Whittier, has seen her hard work pay off, literally. Thanks to the skills gained in her class, she was promoted to accounts receivable, earning an impressive $8.75 more per hour raise. Our ESL students continue to achieve incredible milestones. Georgina Reyes, a dedicated wife, a mother of two, has now successfully completed her HISET. Manalchi Hata, an immigrant from Egypt, has progressed from basic ESL to our new medical assistant program, taking bold steps towards a new career. Blanca Alas de Lopez landed a position in the fashion industry. Nawa Hussein has become a school crossing guard in our community. Kenya Morales is now bus driver. Rigoberto Rodriguez is now attending college full-time at Rio Hondo. Another remarkable achievement reflecting his perseverance. And also, another proud moment on February 19, one of our students has become a U.S. citizen, thanks to the unwavering guidance from Ms. Catherine Herrick. Over the last few days, we have seen some campus improvement, and we want to thank you, the Board of Education, for approving our exterior painting. Our SEC campus has undergone a transformation with newly painted areas, giving it a fresh, new look, creating a welcoming environment for all of our students and our community. Thank you.
So now we will hear from our board reports, and to begin our reports, I'm going to look to Ms. Conchola to start our board reporting tonight. Ms. Conchola, you may begin.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. I need to test the technology, make sure it's not AI. So, in any case, thank you for all your comments. We take them all to heart. I want you to know that, and we do listen. I want to congratulate the good work that has led to some of our students getting careers and jobs that bring more opportunities to their families. I want to acknowledge that. Thank you for that. And in terms of AI, I think it's something that we are all very concerned about in terms of, the authenticity of the students and what they produce. And we want to make sure that it comes from them and not from some created universe. So thank you for attending that conference, Mr. Farsta. So this was a busy month. I attended the Lucerna WASP reception, and I want to congratulate the Lucerna team because they did a fabulous job. The parents as well for the reception, they put out such a beautiful spread, and all of the people that came from the WASP committee really felt welcome. I also attended the Blue Shield event honoring our Whittier PD and some of our other officers, which happened on February the 21st. I also went to the Cal High, Good Morning Whittier at Cal High, and I wanted to say also thank you to Cal High staff for hosting that. That was extra effort, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. On February 24th, I attended the LACSA meeting at Paramount Unified School District, where they talked a lot about English learners and making sure that we have culturally relevant curriculum for the students so they can engage and feel part of the educational process. And we also had some legislative updates in terms of pieces of legislation that can impact our district. Just last week, some of our teams, the administrators at Cal High and Lucerna and Whittier attended the Puente 1030 celebration, which was celebrating 30 years in the high school, 10 years in the middle school. And Whittier Union was celebrated for being an original partner of 30 years. So I want to also acknowledge Superintendent Oviedo for going and accepting the award on behalf of our district. Also, finally, we did attend a board training to build our board and to try to work better with each other, and I thought it was very productive. And so we're, stepping in the right direction, and I want to acknowledge the leadership of our president, Dr. Castañeda Calleros, for putting that together and working with Dr. Oviedo to really build a stronger working relationship between our trustees. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Conchola. Mr. Lopez, you have a report tonight.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. I have a few comments to share with you all tonight. I want to start out by thanking Cal High for hosting the Whittier Chamber of Commerce Wake Up Whittier event. Unfortunately, I could not attend, but I heard it was a great success. Staff shared school district updates to the attendees. I know it was mentioned by Trustee Conchola of having our own State of the District event, and by community leaders, unions, students and parents also in support. I did attend Pioneers Lucerna's WASC reception. Even though I don't speak often about WASC, please know, colleagues and staff, that these WASC visits are super important to me, as the results of these visits project the trajectory of the high school's future in academics and otherwise. In addition, I view the visits as an opportunity for our principal's leadership to shine. Thank you, Principal Castro and Principal Chapman, for a well-organized WASC receptions, including live music. And on March 1st, I also attended our special board meeting to discuss board evaluation. Yes, part of the meeting was very productive, but unfortunately we left the meeting, in my opinion, as a divided board. I say this because our meeting morphed into a negative atmosphere by having a personal meeting of the minds with the chair of the meeting, questioning and evaluating another member's state of mind because of their supposed past. This was uncalled for, and for the facilitator, did not stop it. My question is, were his comments preemptive to bait and incite reaction? I don't know. I remember when Mr. Mendez was about to become president, Mr. Castañeda Calleros set preconditions before his vote that Mr. Mendez be collaborative, inclusive, and humble. Did we give preconditions before we voted for chair in December? I don't think we did. However, we recently did vote and approved the governance handbook, which lays out governance norms and meetings guidelines which the chair may have violated, including respecting each other, focus on the process, not personalities, to name a couple. On a different topic, Dr. Oviedo shared great data with us that 77% of our students at our comprehensive high schools are earning 2.5 or higher GPA, which is great. With all the resources that are available, I'm hopeful that we can hit the 80% mark soon and continue to provide extra help to those falling below 2.0. My last thought is, let's be mindful of these trying times and support students and families any way we can. And just want to say thank you whoever gave us these treats for Ramadan. And thank you for that. Appreciate it. Those are my comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for your report.
Thank you.
Mr. Mendez, do you have a report tonight?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I went to the top 100 at Santa Fe High School, and that was such a pleasure. I got introduced to their famous chicken. And let me tell you, I thought I was gonna get a rubber chicken dinner. It was not the case. When the principal tells me, you're gonna really enjoy this, I said, okay, chicken. That was the most fabulous chicken that I've really ever had. You know, I can't even cook it myself. The way this turned out was just amazing. And it was great to see. I went around, as my board colleagues know, is I like to introduce myself to all the tables. And so I went around, introduced myself, and that was such a great experience. I actually knew some of the parents there, so it was great to see them and congratulate them and the students. That was such a wonderful experience. You know, I will always find the occasion to applaud and to congratulate kids who excel. I mean, just to think that they're doing the best thing for the rest of their lives by starting at high school. And that's so positive. But however, in the back of my mind, my concern for the last couple of years has been about the survey, post-high school survey. Is it how many students are getting UC accepted, CSU, how many going to Rio Hondo College, how many going? So I'd like to see more of a robust data so we could work on that. And that goes along with my concern about the stratosphere of student GPAs. I know the top 100, the top 10% or less are pretty much college bound. And the difference is whether they have the GPA and the stories to get into a UC, a CSU, or take the community college route. And the concern is the bottom 100. Is I want to know what's going to happen, what plans do the lower 100 have? And there's a reason why I bring this up. Because we all know that a young person's life, however they start, it's going to decide of whether they're going to be contributors to our society, they're going to enter the workforce. I'm really concerned about that. And I'm concerned about it because where I live in South Whittier, lower South Whittier, South Side Whittier. I live in an immediate immigrant community. All my neighbors are immigrants. So, and I know these kids, and so the ones that are not excelling at school, I'm concerned about. I visited last year 2 kids in prison, and that gives you perspective when you have to go stand in line and give your name to go see a student. And I'm worried about that. And that's my disposition here. You know, I gotta give you some context of why I'm here. Why am I here at Whittier Union High School District? Well, you know, I was at Rio Hondo College for 21 years. It's no accident why I was at Rio Hondo College for 21 years. After Whittier High School, with D's and F's, I still have the mindset that maybe there's some chance for me. Is that maybe I have the opportunity to do something with myself. I don't know what sparked that, but I went to Rio Hondo. I moved in with my father for the first time. He died a year into my first year at Rio Hondo College. So I was homeless. I slept in the back of Rio Hondo College by the observatory with tall grass, and it was okay for me because I was a camper, so it didn't bother me too much. But the ridicule I got from people of authority really almost discouraged me. I used to have a vice president, Don Jenkins, used to tell me, once he found out of my situation, you don't belong here. Rio Hondo is for students who come from good families. You ought to consider getting a job and come back when you're stable. Well, I said, BS. I'm gonna stick around. And it took me a while to get my AA degree in paralegal studies that did give me the financial independence to continue. But I remember I had a dean also, a female dean. When I used to go down there and take a shower in the morning, there was a group of us. And I took a swimming class. The female dean would walk right across from me and confront me when I'm nude and ask to see my schedule. So I had to go to my locker and give the person my schedule. I complained, nothing happened because I was told, well, she's gay, so she's not lusting after you, so you shouldn't have a problem. So anyway, became a student leader, had confidence in myself. I learned what academic discipline was at the community college, because I didn't know what the hell that meant at Whittier High School. No clue, but I was a good kid. I never got in trouble. So this is my disposition, and when I got to Whittier Union, after those 21 years, because of the California Voting Rights Act, it created an opportunity that I could not refuse. It's for the first time in the history of this district, areas were created so that each community could vote on a candidate and have a voice. So I jumped on the opportunity to represent South Whittier, the most low-income area in the district, that had the highest single-parent rate, the lowest poverty, and the worst state test scores from Carmela, and the low 2% of the state of California. And so I also teach at Mayberry Park, and I've been doing that for 15 years, and I moved into this community for a reason, is I wanted to be around people who struggle, just like I did. I wanted to figure out how I could help them, how I could uplift them. That's why I'm here. It's an unpopular position, because advocating for the bottom 100, no one wants to hear. Going to visit them in prison, no one wants to go. That's why I decided to run for this office. And my constituents, I think, appreciate that, because I'm in constant contact by teaching in the community. So it's a privilege to be here. This Whittier Union is an example of representative democracy in the United States. As Thomas Jefferson discussed the ward republics, that democracy exists best at the local level, he said, because there's an interdependence and you have to rely on each other. As John Stuart Mill, as you know, helped create the system of our education in this country so that citizens can have a basic education so that they can self-govern. And that's very important. But I feel this is a very fragile system. Our democracy is a very fragile system. And we're experiencing it on the national level and how fragile it could be. And I'm concerned about how we act locally. I think we need to be concerned about Brown Act violations when the minutes are manipulated. We need to be concerned about that. Because if democracy doesn't exist here at the local level, I'm afraid of what it's going to look like down the road. A man committed suicide just feet from here on the track. Shot himself. And that leaves me with the idea of, well, I wonder what happened to this gentleman. I wonder what hopelessness he was experiencing, what type of issues he had in his home. What drove this person to do that, to take his own life? It's no different as a D&F student in high school, because I was there. Is you're filled with hopelessness. Every DNF that piles up, it gives you an idea of no future. And to be able to have despair, hopelessness with a young person, I'm concerned about that. And I have a different disposition, like I said, and I'm concerned about that. So when suicide happens on this district property, I need to ask myself that question. I know we have mental health counseling, and we're doing a good job at that, but no one will ever know the despair of a student who gets a D and F every semester. And I shared that with you today. I know what that's like. In my visitations to all the ASBs last year, I went twice to every school. That was such an awesome opportunity for me to communicate with young people. Whittier High School pulled me aside. students from Whittier High School. Said, Mr. Mendez, we'd like to talk to you about something. I said, sure. They said, we were encouraged to vote for one candidate and not the other. And I said, why would you say that? He said, yes, is that we were told to vote for a candidate whose father's on the board of trustees. These were 3 students. They said, we don't want you to use our name, but we need to let you know that our elections were not fair. And so I think that we need to write a policy that maintains the integrity of student elections, so nothing that can be misinterpreted occurs. At the we had just recently came back from a retreat, and it was going well until a little over halfway. I was insulted and attacked by Mr. Russell Castaneda. On March 1st, 2024, at about 11 a.m., was the worst board retreat I've ever experienced in my 23 years of elected office. Russell Castaneda sowed the seeds of disharmony, divisiveness, and insults unprovoked. The facilitator, Seppi from CSBA, invited the divisiveness, attacks, insults, and disharmony by creating the forum for Russell's attack. Halfway through our session, Russell turned his attention to me and began to attack my character with insults, mischaracterizations, and disparaging comments about my childhood and upbringing. Russell cut into me while the facilitator and board members looked on in silence. The insults and disrespect occurred for minutes. All the while, the facilitator stared at me, waiting for my reaction. No one came to my aid. Minutes into the attack, I demanded Russell to stop. I asked the facilitator how she could allow this to happen. She replied, "This conversation needs to occur." I was in shock, but not surprised, since Russell brought this person to us and told us he considers her a friend. I would never encourage personal attacks on anyone, any board member. I told the facilitator that if someone attacks me or any other board member, I would not respect their insults and allow them to continue attacking me, attacking uninterrupted. I will stop you. You're a bully and an aggressor. This action demonstrated the true nature and intent of the CSBA facilitator and Russell. Nothing good will come out of this dark event. Last year, we had a facilitator named Luann, who was excellent. When she heard that Irma told me that she could not respect me as a board president and would not call me board president, Luann inquired and confirmed that Irma, what she said, and only then was a board member faced with their own cruelty to fellow board members. Luann is not a person who can be compromised to do Russell's bidding, which is why she was not invited back. Our board governance handbooks prohibit this behavior, and Robert's Rules of Order prescribes a process by which like behavior is handled. Last year, Irma proposed that censorship be considered should this occur, and it happened, and it should be considered. Consider this my complaint on Russell's behavior. This board has demonstrated before that you may think you're above the law and above your own policies, and you may ignore this aggression and table it again. Russell, this shows everyone here that you treat board members like you might treat students, parents, and members of our community. And you believe that we are beneath you with disdain, hate, and repulsiveness. Your disrespect of one board member should be disrespect for all of us. In closing, I enjoy being here. It's my mission to be here, to be able to uplift students and families. I've been doing this for 41 years. I didn't just come up with it overnight. And also on this, we'll be talking about incompatibility office. I'm a very diverse person. I have my nature part of me as a naturalist and climate steward, the ranger, I have my karate, my spiritual side, my Native American side, and I have my education side. I'm passionate about all of them. I will not choose just one. I will not be true to myself if I just choose one. And I think that my contribution, although I think we act as a whole, my contribution in spearheading issues, I think, has benefited this district, including reducing expulsion rates from 40 to 1 last year. I instituted policy changes on drug, academic, and mental health counseling for students. I didn't do that alone, but I sure cried and pleaded to everyone on this board about that in my first year. My first year, that's what I was faced with. Visit all 6 campuses with student governments to hear their concerns. I championed healthcare for part-timers, including bus drivers and teachers' aides, something I felt that if someone making $300,000 can get free healthcare, why shouldn't a part-timer? It's a good investment, and it has been. The land acknowledgement, Yosh Nakamura. So, it is a privilege for me to be here. I enjoy it. It's part of my mission in life, and I'm going to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez, for your report tonight. Vice President Rodriguez-Moisa, do you have a report?
I do. I'm going to start with the official part of my report, but I am going to address some of my comments to some of the comments that have just been made that I think completely cross the line with respect to board comments. But I do want to share, obviously, with members of the community that I too had the pleasure and honor of attending the WASC receptions for Lucerna and Pioneer. It really is inspiring to see our staff, our teachers, our administrators, our parents, our students be there and be recognized and really show their best. I also attended the Silver Shields dinner in recognition of the support that we get from our Whittier Police Department staff and police officers. I had the honor of giving the keynote speech at the Rio Hondo Seroptimus International of Whittier Women's Day event last Friday. That was a lot of fun. I had a lot of the young women students from our high schools there. I know Darla, Riley, are you still here?
Yes.
Darla, I want to tell you, I cannot make the dinner on the April 23rd. It is one of my favorite events every year, but I'm out of town. Please know my spirit will be there supporting, cheering you on, okay? So congratulations on the recognition. I do also want to thank the person who left us our Ramadan treat. So I don't know who that was.
Ms. Razi.
Oh, Ms. Razi. Okay, well, thank you for that. I have kind of wanted to start picking at it, but I'm going to behave myself. This is a very exciting and nervous time for our students, for many of them waiting to hear on college decisions. So I'm rooting for all of them to do the best and get into the schools. Those of them who are applying for your college admissions to get the school that they get into. And then I'm going to end here with our special board meeting that we had on March 1st. And the meeting, for those of you who aren't aware, was a board retreat, if you will, to talk about our own board governance, how we get along with each other. For those of you who may not remember, last year there was a survey done by our stakeholders, and we as a board got the worst marks of anybody about the confidence that people had in us, about our meetings, and et cetera. And so, and we also rated ourselves, and we rated ourselves as, you know, perhaps not having the best relationships between ourselves and being able to have those kinds of discussions. And so we had this retreat specifically to discuss how we as a board work better. How can we work better? And so there were hard discussions, it's true. You have to have them. And the facilitator created that space for people to have those discussions. So I 110% disagree with any characterization of any of the conduct or comments during that meeting to be disrespectful. They were conversations that did need to occur. Now, I know that I feel like I've heard Mr. Mendez's speech for why he should not be removed from office for the incompatibility of office. That's what I feel like I've heard, and I really appreciate his service on this board. I think he's done a lot of great things, as he himself referenced. But the reality is there's also stuff Mr. Mendez has done. He has sowed dissension amongst the board. CSEA references today, they somehow have an impression that we were a divided board last year with respect to their support. Completely untrue. I can't tell you how often we've tried telling you, completely untrue. But it is division that he sowed. He also has bullied quite a few of us. Anytime you ask him a question or question an issue, Ms. Conchola and I saying that he's been disrespectful to us as women board members, turning his back, not acknowledging us. What does he do? He goes on the attack and attacks us, and you need to do this, and you haven't done that, and Josefina, blah, blah, blah. That's what he does. And so I appreciate all the work that he's done on this board, but quite frankly, he's been the bully. Whenever I've tried to get, when I wanted to participate in a meeting, and I said, let's please do this, silence, ghosting me. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what that was, what that speech was, but I'm going to tell you, it was not true with respect to the respect that we hold for each other, the fact that we had to have a hard conversation about how we as a board talk with each other. And in fact, one of the tenets is, if you have an issue, go to that person first. Don't go out making a public speech. So I urge all of you who are still paying attention, and I see that it's on camera, that those of you who watch this, that to be careful what you believe. Because I can share with you, having observed and having experienced Mr. Mendez as a fellow board member, it is not easy, it is challenging, he sows dissension, he makes you not trust other people, and he attacks. And so I'm going to leave it at that. I would not have gone there. I'm totally in a happy space, and I apologize that I have to address that, but I cannot leave those comments without a response. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez-Moisa, for your report tonight. I have a report tonight for a few things. First of all, I do want to make reference to what we refer to as the BSE, the Board Self-Evaluation. It is true, we had a board special study session on March 1st. I want to thank Dr. Oviedo for your help, Olga Cedillo, and of course Dr. Yao, our facilitator. During the, I think it was about a 4-hour session, we were invited to identify areas that we can celebrate, things that we do well as a board. I think one of them was being present in the community, and the other one was coming prepared. Those are two, when I say coming prepared, I mean coming prepared to board meetings. So we spent some time validating ourselves for that, and I think that was a really good start to the meeting. We also took time to identify areas for us to improve, and we have quite a few. And one of them is how we handle conflict internally. And as you can imagine, we have some practice, we're going to have some practice in doing that tonight. How do we handle conflict in a constructive, meaningful way where we're not making personal attacks? And quite frankly, it's a really important life skill that we need to model for our students and for each other. We're always going to have conflict because we have 5 different minds up here. And not all conflict is bad, and I think there are right ways to fight. But when we start making personal attacks, that's when things start to unravel. And then the other area of improvement that I think we highlighted was we wanted to be better advocates. We all recognize the importance of advocating for our students in our district, both in Washington, D.C., and in Sacramento, locally as well. We may do it in pockets individually, but we want to be more intentional about doing it collectively with one voice. And so that's something that we highlighted for ourselves. We challenged ourselves. The other thing I want to mention too is we spent some time talking about revisiting our board goals, making sure that they're aligned. And so thank you, Dr. Oviedo and Ms. Cedillo, for preparing this placemat. And so it's a double-sided placemat. It's placed on the dais, and in case you don't know, our board goals are listed here to keep us grounded and to keep us directed towards, the mission. We have our district goals, we have the superintendent's goals here, we have the LCAP priority areas, and then we have the California 8 state priorities, and they're all linked together intentionally. And we've been working on this for the better part of a year. And that's one of our goals as a board. So I want to celebrate that. On the flip side, we have our governance norms, and we have our responsibilities, and we want to make sure that we try to remember, because these are the rules of engagement. These are the norms that we agreed to follow last March. It's been almost a year now. So we are trying to keep ourselves grounded and focused on trying to be better board members. It's all about continuous improvement. Speaking of continuous improvement, I want to pivot to WASC. I want to congratulate the teams that put those visits together. I was able to be present both at Pioneer and Lucerna. It was wonderful to be able to have some time to meet with members of the community as well as the members of the visiting teams. Just so impressed at the parent support and family support that was there. So congratulations to both those principals and their leadership. Happy to share I was at the Silver Shield event, and where we recognized our law enforcement leaders, and special thanks to our SROs at our campuses as well for helping to keep our campuses safe. I was able to attend the Whittier High School musical over the weekend. It was SpongeBob SquarePants. I never even knew they had a musical. And when I went, I wasn't sure what to expect. I expected to be lighthearted, and parts of it were, but there were really embedded serious messages too. People with pitchforks. There was in-group, out-group stereotyping. Very dystopian feel, very much like what we're kind of seeing unravel in Washington, D.C. right now. But it was really a good performance, and very emotional for the seniors who were taking senior vows. I did get approached by parents and families who were in Vic Lopez who said, Dr. Castañeda-Calleros, it's freezing in here. So I did get some complaints about the cold air blowing, and it was a cold night, and it was raining, and people were coming inside. And it's not just that the heater's not working, but there's cold air blowing that they're having trouble turning off. And apparently it's been going on for a few months, so I apologize for not knowing that sooner. But I promised the parents I was talking to that I would bring it up here publicly during my board report. And speaking of Performing Arts Complex, I would love to be able to, not necessarily maybe in a presentation, but maybe in a board weekly update, getting a status report on our Performing Arts Complex that will be just a stone's throw from here. So that would be great to hear. Once upon a time, I think we were looking at winter 25, and maybe the timeline has changed since then. CSEA, thank you for your comments tonight. Thank you for inviting us to participate in the scholarship that you have coming up. Luisa Delgado from your e-board emailed me today with information about how to donate to the scholarship, and I know you're collecting baskets as well. So I just want to make a commitment to show my commitment through my action, which, as you say, are more meaningful than words. I'd like to contribute to the scholarship fund, so thank you for what you do. I don't have my checkbook right now, but I'll be happy to send it later this week. And then let me just finish by saying this, and I'll end my report because I know we have some other items to get to. Today it marks 15 years that I've served on this board. I took my oath of office March 10th, 2010. So for 15 years, I've had the pleasure, and I do agree with Trustee Mendez. It is a pleasure, it is a privilege to be up here, to be part of this board, and to make difficult decisions at times, and to try to work together as a team with 5 minds that are very different. But that's the essence of democracy, as my colleagues have already shared. And sometimes practicing democracy at the local level, particularly at the school board level, can get messy. And maybe later tonight it might get a little messier. But I think sometimes discussions and dialogue are really important to be able to focus on the things that really matter, as long as we keep our students our North Star. And that's really important in what we do. Regarding the allegations made at the BSC meeting, all I can say is that I've been taught to turn the cheek. And my record for the last 15 years on this board speaks for itself. Thank you. That concludes my report tonight. And with that, I will pivot over to Dr. Oviedo for the superintendent report, 12.01.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's see. We have, so tomorrow is Lucerna High School Principals Award Night at 6 p.m. Senior project presentations are happening at Lucerna and Cal this week. Best of luck to all of our seniors on this important milestone. Future Frosh Night will be taking place next Thursday, March 20th from 6 p.m. at all schools. Spring break is March 24th through the 31st, and so I wish everyone a restful spring break. On April 2nd, Mrs. Bozigian and I will be taking the student board, the student superintendent's board representatives up to Sacramento for the day to meet and engage with their legislators, enjoy a lovely lunch at the historic Frank Fat's restaurant, and tour the Capitol before returning home that evening. On Saturday, April 5th, Whittier Union will be hosting an educators conference in partnership with West Ed. West Ed is a national nonprofit, nonpartisan research development and service agency that works to improve education. And this year's conference theme is Leading Through Change, Sustaining Growth. And this year, the three principals from Pioneer High School, starting with me to Lily to Mary, have been asked to be the keynote speakers, along with the superintendent of Whittier City. And so we will be talking about sharing insights and strategies that have contributed to the success of Pioneer High School, highlighting the transformative power of strong leadership. And after the event happens, I'll share more information with all of you. And lastly, I do want to share with you that in the Whittier Daily News, there is an article regarding Pioneer High School and their CIF championship win and some funds that are being raised. And I am proud to share with you that currently the ASB has received from our communications out to the community $11,500. And the GoFundMe that also is created for this purpose is $4,100. So we now have enough money to purchase a ring for every single student.
Excellent.
Thanks to the generous donations. The generous donations of many members of our community, including members that are sitting up on this dais, as well as alumni. And that does conclude my report.
Thank you, Dr. Oviedo, for your report.
Thank you.
So that brings us forward to the consent calendar 13.01. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar? Mr. Mendez.
I'd like to remove, for purpose of discussion, 1303.
Okay, so it has been requested to remove 13.03. Are there any other items besides 13.03 that are of interest?
I'm also interested in the.
Okay, thank you very much.
03.
Noted.
Thank you.
There's interest in pulling 13.03. Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion to pass everything in the consent calendar except 13.03.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Mendez and seconded by Mr. Lopez to approve the entire consent calendar except 13.03. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Seeing none, motion passes. We come back to 13.03.
I'll move it.
Moved
Second.
and seconded.
So discussion is on one of the contracts, and that's the Boogie Down DJ services. I wanted to say that, Boogie Down DJ services. And the question is this, and I don't know if it pertains to this one. So having been to 2 graduations thus far, which are always fantastic events. However, in every one that I go to, I always see the banda dance, the banda band outside. And inside, I went up to the DJ and I asked the DJ, can you mix it up with some culturally sensitive music? Things that, music that the families and students would like really appreciate. And he goes, no man, this is set, it's a playlist, it's been approved. It is what it is. So what I'm looking for is DJs that are culturally sensitive to the families that we serve. Because I think it's wonderful that organically, I think out of Cal High or Pioneer, that the bandas is outside of the stadium when they should be in. I mean, it's just so much more motivating. By watching Instagram, you can see how young people are really getting hip to banda dancing and music. So I would really like to see DJs that are going to be culturally sensitive to the families we serve. And I don't think that's not too much to ask, but it enlivens the atmosphere, makes parents and hopefully grandparents with the select amount of music feel comfortable and welcome. So that's my comment on that.
Okay, before I invite Mr. Lopez to share his comments, let me just reflect what I'm hearing to make sure it's accurate. So you're, Mr. Mendez, you're bringing up a concern to raise awareness about the importance of culturally sensitive music to be able to reflect the community that's present at the event, but you're not opposed to approving the DJ
Well said.
tonight?
Yes, well said.
Understood. Mr. Lopez?
I do have a question, or is what Mr. Mendez just mentioned?
That has not been my experience as the principal of Santa Fe High School and
Just wonder if
Pioneer
we-
High School, no, neither on campus or during the school day or at DJ events. The only restrictions tend to be on songs that have explicit lyrics that would be inappropriate or disrespectful of a particular racial group. And I'm gonna point to Mrs. Ozigian.
We've had boogie down DJs before, and this particular DJ, whatever the kids want to hear, they can hear, but we do not have explicit lyrics.
Okay.
Because we need to keep it PG.
I don't even know what
PG-13.
explicit is in Spanish.
Oh, well, they're there.
But it's really regarding graduation. Yeah, that's what I'm talking specifically of.
I will talk to the principals to see if that has been a concern regarding a
Well,
DJ.
I'm expressing that here.
Okay.
I'm expressing the concern here. Yeah.
So that was your experience at one of the
Yeah,
graduations?
2 years in a row. I went up to the DJ and I said, can you mix it up with, some culturally, some Latino music and stuff?
Was that during the graduation ceremony? I'm just trying to
Before,
make sure I
yeah,
understand.
just before.
But when we were out on the field?
Yeah, when he plays his DJ set.
Oh, okay, I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying. So
Just
that's the pre-music as
Yeah,
people
right.
are entering into the graduation and having seats.
Yeah, I don't want to get rid of pop.
So that would be elite, so Mr.
Yeah.
Tamiro and I can have that conversation with our
That would be
assistant
helpful.
principals of activities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Lopez, anything? Okay.
Mr. Chair, thank you.
So I think we'll call the question on 13.03, looking down, DJ services. Is there a motion?
I moved it.
Oh, you moved it and seconded it. So now we call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I think it's the entire
Entire
list.
1303.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Let me rephrase my motion. Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
You got it.
So the motion on the table right now is to approve all the contracts in 13.03, including the one that we discussed, bringing up.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and it's been seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, that moves us to 14.01, proposals and discussions. Where I just have some preface comments I'd like to share before I open the floor for this item. And my comments are meant to just provide a little bit of historical context, and I'm just stating facts at this point. And although we voted, the majority of us voted to waive closed session privilege on a couple of documents that are going to be referenced in this section, I'm still going to err on the side of conservatism here. And I'll just start by saying this. As board president, I want to start back in November. And after Mr. Mendez was elected to the Central Basin Municipal Water Board, Trustee Rodriguez-Moisa at the November 12th board meeting made remarks during her board report raising the issue about a potential incompatibility of offices. And that's a fact. At December 17th, at the December 17th board meeting, Trustee Conchola made remarks during her board report that she also was concerned about potential incompatibility, again, potential. And then on December 18th, Trustee Rodriguez-Moisa sent a request to the board president and myself, confirming a request for an opinion letter from LACO, legal counsel, for a legal opinion on the issue of incompatibility or compatibility. Given that I had the same concerns, the request was granted, and LACO legal counsel sent a legal opinion letter on January 10th. On the night of the January 14th board meeting, as part of a compromise that was intended to give Mr. Mendez an opportunity to be a part of the next leg of the process, a second opinion was sought. And again, this was a compromise that was agreed to 5-0 by this board. And I can say that now because the closed session privilege has been lifted by a majority of the board. On this evening, January 14th, it was agreed to by the board to grant authority to a subcommittee of 2 trustees to review a short list of law firms with expertise in giving opinions on potential cases of compatibility or incompatibility, and to select a firm to give a second opinion. The subcommittee consisted of Trustee Rodriguez-Moiza and Trustee Mendez. So I believe this is the part where I have to get my dates right. And late January, early February, they met and selected the law firm of Strom, Wasser, and Wucher. So for about 1 month or so, Strom, Wasser, and Wucher completed an investigation consisting of, number 1, a review of documents, number 2, interviews of relevant stakeholders, and 3, legal research as to the power and duties of relevant stakeholders. On Friday, just a few days ago, Strom, Wasser, and Wucher delivered the second opinion, in addition to the LACO General Counsel opinion. It was delivered to my attention, and I shared with the board that same evening. It was shared with the board that same evening. In a nutshell, the second opinion concluded that Mr. Mendez, quote, I'm quoting the report, most likely would be found to be holding incompatible offices.
Point of clarification.
I'm almost done.
Yeah, just point of clarification, Mr. Chair. Now,
Sure.
Now, according to this 14.01, compatibility of office, and maybe we can get some legal opinion on this. It doesn't say anything about Mr. Mendez on this proposal, on this item. Why are we bringing this up?
Actually, I can answer that really quickly, and then I'd like to continue my comments, my introductory comments.
Yeah,
So let me answer that quickly. So the first reason is because I've been approached by members of the community about this issue since November, and I'm answering your question. May I finish answering your question?
I'm wondering why we're speaking on Mr. Mendez if there's no mention of Mr. Mendez in this proposal. That's all, Mr. Chair.
He's the one that's holding 2 offices. No, okay. The rest of us are not. So to answer your earlier question, the second part of it, other than being responsive, is to be transparent. And I thought that it's really actually quite unusual for us to waive closed session privilege. But in order to exercise transparency, I felt we needed to do that. And so that's why we're here discussing this tonight in open session. And I'm almost done, so please bear with me, colleagues. The reason for summarizing the highlights of this process and for adding this item to the discussion portion for tonight's agenda is to bring everyone up to speed, because I'm not the only one that's being approached. I know some of my colleagues are as well. And one thing tonight's discussion will not include, I just want to make this very clear, is a dialogue about potential legal strategies. I will ask the board to refrain from topics directly or indirectly related to potential litigation. That's for closed session. My recommendation is that any comments related to potential litigation are withheld until we have an opportunity to discuss this at another setting. And since tonight's item is discussion and not an action item, the board cannot take any formal action tonight. Just want to make sure that's clear as well. So in closing, before I open up the floor for discussion, I'd like to remind myself and all of us, so myself included, that we keep our discussion professional, that we keep our tone civil, that we refrain from personal attacks, all of which are in our norms that we've agreed to. And in closing, that we keep with all of our norms of decorum. I may have more to say after listening to my colleagues, but for now I yield the floor to the next person wishing to speak on this matter. I will, yes, I see your hand. You may go next, Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Chair, just again, proposal discussions, compatibility of office. March, so categorizes the position of Mr. Mendez. So I do want our legal counsel, can we have this discussion on just strictly Mr. Mendez, even though it's not agendized?
No, that'd be fine. Thank you. Mr. Gallagher, if you'd approach the podium and address Mr. Lopez's question.
Yeah, I learned a lesson last meeting. I'll always go to the podium to address all questions. So the Brown Act standard for an agenda item is a general description of the topic to be discussed, and it would be subject to a test of, does it fairly apprise the public of what would be discussed. I think in this situation, there had been prior references to the two offices, and it's a matter of public record that Mr. Mendez is holding two offices, so I don't think there would be a problem referring to Mr. Mendez or anybody else, in reference to an incompatible office, because that's the description on the agenda. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're very welcome, Mr. Lopez. Any other comments that would be made this time? Ms. Canchola, you may go next.
Yes, President Castañeda Piñeros. I have been, this is a piece of information. There were several meetings ago that I have mentioned that I have been approached by several of my constituents in regards to the compatibility of these two elected offices. And I was asked, is this not a conflict of interest? And I have mentioned at the time that to follow the process, and because the constituents were asking, that I wanted to see if in fact we could get some information from experts that could give us that response. Since then, I have had additional constituents ask me about Mr. Mendez's dual roles, elected roles. And so just wanted to mention that just like anybody else on our board would follow up if any other one of us had put ourselves out there for another elected position and had been actually elected to that board, that I know that this would also raise some questions. And I would ask, the same follow-up, just to make sure that we were abiding by what is right and what our constituents might perceive as not a compatible situation. So again, originally I had just a couple of people. Since then, I've had more people asking me about that. So just wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Ms. Canchola. Yes, Mr. Rodriguez-Meza, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. These opinions that we sought were not easy decisions, but it's part of our duty as fiduciaries, as trustees, to ensure that we model the proper behavior and that we follow the law. And the rule of law here in the state of California is that a person cannot hold two incompatible offices. And so we did receive an opinion from the Los Angeles County Office of Education that they provided to us free of charge. Mr. Mendez expressed concern about that opinion letter, felt that it contained some factual inaccuracies. For myself, I respect the fact that Mr. Mendez has worked really hard, been elected at Rio Hondo numerous times, got elected to this board, got elected to the Central Basin. I think that those are very important duties that he has earned in terms of the work he's done in the community to garner the votes to get elected. So this was not a decision that was easy, because you want to respect that someone was elected. However, I too had calls from constituents about this issue. I did not know the answer. And so hence I asked for the opinion from LACO, which is free of charge, at the December meeting. I followed up with an email confirming my request. Consistent with all the other times I've requested legal opinions when both Mr. Mendez and Mr. Lopez were president of the board. Mr. Lopez went as far as to let me email the then general counsel directly, and I would copy him. And I know that is something we've been allowed to do as members. My big thing is that I have to copy the president of the board so that they're aware of the opinion. But at the end of the day, when you take a look at these two opinions, which are now obviously going to be a matter of public record, the board was respectful of Mr. Mendez's concerns that the LACO opinion was not factually accurate. I think it was important to us, certainly very important to me, that he be given the opportunity to provide input to the lawyer who was going to be preparing the opinion letter, which he was. Aside from anybody else they interviewed, Mr. Mendez was given that opportunity to be interviewed as well, provide any information he wanted. And it was also important for me that Mr. Mendez was part of this process of selecting the firm. And so he and I have worked together before on subcommittees, and we worked on the subcommittee. We were given 3 names from our general counsel to consider, and together we chose this firm, and the board had delegated to us that authority. And I think that the hardest part about this is that I know Mr. Mendez loves his service on the Whittier Union High School District Board. I know he does. He talks about it. I can hear it. But what the law says is if you're elected to a second office and you take that oath and there's incompatibility, you automatically lose the first office and you have to serve in the second. That's what incompatibility means. And both of these opinions found that there is incompatibility of offices. And the reason is that you have all the duty of loyalty to both, to do your best by all the people you represent at the school district and at the water board. And here the issue is the water board, while it does not sell water directly to the district, it sells water to people who we pay water bills to. And the water district gets to charge an administrative fee on one of the types of waters that it sells, and it could actually influence the rate set by the other people with whom we buy water. That's an interest that they have to maximize their revenues with respect to water or water conservation. We as a board, we have an interest in minimizing those costs. We want to pay, we want to get our water, we want to make sure we've got a great water supply. And what the Attorney General opinions state is that by itself, that possibility is a conflict of interest. And you cannot serve 2 masters at the same time. And that's what's happened here. And so the opinions ultimately say, and I know the second one has this more likely than not or likely, that's legal speak that's the persuasive argument, okay? And what the legal opinion sets out is that having found that there is an incompatibility of office, there's a process where you go to the state attorney general and you get an authority to bring up what they call a quo warranto action. But once that authority is given, the burden then is on the individual who's holding the 2 offices to prove they're not incompatible. It's no longer on us to show they're compatible or incompatible. And so I know that I've had these discussions with Mr. Mendez, and again, I don't say this lightly because I understand how important the roles are, and I know how important his serving on this board is. But quite frankly, this is the circumstance of what happens when you run for more than one office. And remember, he also ran for Rio Hondo board. I don't know if he was going to hold 3 offices, but he ran for another board. And none of us advised Mr. Mendez with respect to that. We respected his right to run for office and in this case get elected. But we have a duty to uphold the law as trustees and to inform our constituents about this violation. I urge Mr. Mendez to voluntarily resign his position and allow the district to avoid the additional distraction and legal expenditure of having to pursue a potential legal action. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rodriguez-Bueza. Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it. So let's go back. Before November, before the election. Obviously, a lot of us, want to see who's running for what seat. None of us went to LACO, went to some other agency and said, hey, Mr. Mendez cannot run for this. He cannot. We never challenged it. No one challenged it. I'm wondering why. After he won, all of a sudden, everyone's coming out, hey, can he hold these? What happened before? They could have gone to Dr. Oviedo. They could have gone to, say, whoever it may be, the president at the time, say, hey, you can't hold these, you can't file for these two offices. I'm just wondering, maybe they had more of history that he can file for 2 offices, 3 offices, right? So there was no challenge. I'm just wondering why now? And here's the concern that I have. We're spending a lot of money. $700 an hour? $700 an hour. You're looking at teacher's aides. You're looking at teacher salaries. Looking at other things. We're spending a lot of money. Okay? My question is, why didn't we go to, say, Central Basin? Ask them. Challenge them. No, he cannot be there. He cannot be at Central Basin. Why, why not challenge that office? Why here? And also, yes, 2 things. Yes, I did get a call from a constituent and said, hey, does Whittier Union have a contract with Central Basin? Looked into it. I'm not convinced there is one. I'm not convinced there is one. And the legal opinions. One, I really have an issue with legal, big time. But the second opinion, more likely than not. More likely. Yes, that's the legal term. But guess what? It doesn't say the office are incompatible. Listen to the words that my colleagues just mentioned. Likelihood, the probably. Are we gonna operate by maybe maybe probable, probability, likely? Are we gonna operate on that? I'm not. I think the court has to decide. The court has to decide whether he's able to serve on 2. And hey, once the court decides, I'm all for it. Now there's discussion about maybe a recall. Yeah, everyone has the right, to file for a recall and such. I get that. But us, as trustees on the dais, we don't speak for the people that voted for it. And, so I'm not gonna entertain that idea of, try to remove a individual if they want to go that route. I'm not gonna entertain this because, again, there's the courts, of course, the recall, there's other methods, but I don't speak to for the people that voted for Mr. Mendez. The courts will, recalls will, yeah. But those are the things that I mentioned, I see, but I'm not gonna operate on maybe, probably, likely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Ms. Rodriguez-Mueza, you had your hand up? Oh, Ms. Conchola, you had your hand up, and then I'll pivot over to Ms. Rodriguez-Mueza next. Go ahead, Ms. Conchola.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to remind us that the 2 verifications that we got in terms of the incompatibility, I can't speak right now, they came from experts. Okay, and so it wasn't something that we created. It was a response that we got, and because there was a question about whether the LACO response was fully informed or not, that's where we got the additional attorney at the request of all of us. It was a 5-0 vote on that decision. So I just want to remind us about that. The other thing too is that when we opt to run for office, it's not a responsibility of the other candidates or the other people on the board to find out prior if they're compatible to other positions that they're running for. That's not a responsibility. is a responsibility of the individual that is running for those offices. So I don't appreciate that inquiry or that burden being put on the rest of our trustees. So I just wanted to mention that. And again, you know, to make things in fairness, we went to experts in the area. It wasn't our own opinion. It was two separate different experts that gave us the same kind of response. So I want to bring light to that. And then I do believe that if, you know, it would have been any other one of us, and our constituents would have asked the same question. I know that Mr. Mendez, given that he's so policy driven, that he would have done the same thing in terms of making sure that we had the proper answer, that we were informed in terms of the responses that we got from experts to make sure that the constituents had the answer that they were asking for. We just wanted to know, they wanted to know, is this something that's, you know, that should be okay or not? Very simple question. And I think we did a due diligence in making sure that we got a response. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Conchola. Ms. Rodriguez Moisa, and then Mr. Lopez, and then Mr. Mendez.
Yeah, I know that Mr. Lopez was asking a rhetorical question,
Yes.
but I actually think it was also a real question. Like, why didn't the rest of us challenge Mr. Mendez about why, you know, why was he running for these other offices? Well, the reality from my perspective is I thought he had done the homework and knew what the answer was, or that he knew that if they were incompatible, he didn't want to serve on our board anymore. That was, quite frankly, what I thought was going on. So, and of course, he has a right to run. The rest of us don't have a right to say, you know, Mr. Mendez or Dr. Casanet Calleros, Mr. Lopez, wait your turn, or don't run because of this. That's outside of our purview. Why aren't we challenging? The other question was the Central Basin Municipal Water District, about him giving that one up instead of this one, because that's not how the law works. The law says that upon taking oath of the second office, you give up your right to the first office. You can't pick and choose and say, you know, I've changed my mind. I really like the first one better, and so I'd rather stay on that one. It's not how the law works. That's clear process on it. And so I would never have thought about telling Mr. Mendez, you know, don't run, it's incompatible, I've got a legal opinion, you shouldn't run. I just knew he was running for two other offices. I had a sense that the Rio Hondo one would have absolutely been a conflict of interest because we do so much work with them. I had no idea about the Central Basin Municipal Water District, but I figured those were offices and passions that he had. And it was like, okay, he has a right to run. Just like any of us could run for city council or some other water board. And if we got elected to those things, you know, there'd be a question of it's compatible or not. So I want to be very respectful to the fact that Mr. Mendez was elected, duly elected by members of our community to this board, and obviously by members of the community to his current board. But it's also very important to me that we follow the law, and we have two legal opinions ultimately concluding that it is an incompatible office, and at a minimum saying you have solid grounds to go to the Attorney General to request a quo warranto action to seek his removal because it's incompatible. And the opinion also says that as to the merits, that Mr. Mendez likely will not prevail on the merits and that it will be found to be incompatible. In light of those opinions, I cannot sit here and do nothing. And so I know we're not having a discussion item, but I did want to respond. I know they were partially I know they were partially rhetorical, but just in case they weren't, and I have no idea of any recall. I've not heard of any recall, so that's certainly not motivating me.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez is next, and then Mr. Mendez, and
Thank
then
you.
I'll go ahead and jump in after that. Thank you.
And the mention of recall was in the comment. So, and then also, just for the record, I supported his opponent, okay, for Central Basin. I said, you know, just for the record, did I endorse him? No, I didn't endorse him. I just want to clear the, I felt that, his opponent had better, credentials, and I didn't support him, by the way, just for the record. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Lopez. Mr. Mendez.
Okay. So I welcome this discussion. I'm not afraid. I don't particularly resent you for coming this up, putting this on the agenda. I did do my homework. As a matter of fact, Martha Camacho hold a seat at Central Basin and Cerritos College. Tony Fellows, Dr. Tony Fellows, sat on Upper San Gabriel and at Pasadena City College for 20 years. So there is a pattern here. Education and water is like two ships passing in the night. I asked myself these questions. I looked into whether does Whittier Union buy water from Central Basin? Well, I figured out earlier that no, it has nothing to do with it. There are two different policy areas, and I'm passionate about both. And especially because I represent South Whittier and larger area that I'm passionate about. It's no guess that I'm an unusual board member on this board. I don't fit in. I'm advocating for the least likely to. And I appreciate the fact that the voters in California, or actually the legislators, created the California Voting Rights Act that gave my community a voice. And I'm up here voicing their opinion, and I'm proud of it. Doesn't sit well with the others and where they represent. They represent the elites. They want to remove me because I'm in their way, without a doubt. So in regards to these two positions, so my idea, doing the homework early on, that whether there was the question is incompatibility. So you can talk about all these other things, but the question is it compatible? And I say no, and the attorneys that I work with are saying no. Central Basin says no. There are two ships passing in the night. It is precedented. People do sit on two seats. The problem is that there's more Anglos that do it than Latinos. I'm a Latino. Second of all, I was last month in closed session. I got slapped in the face with this opinion from LACO. And I got it that night, so I didn't have much time to comment on that. So after reading it and asking questions, there's a series of serious flaws on this. And the opinion was written by Viviana Andrade, who recently admitted she did as a favor for board members. So she will be going on record, having done somebody here on the board a favor. So in looking at this information, we answered the questions, and I did a PRA with the district. And this is based on the letter that was given to the board, asked by Russell, not by the board as a whole. It was never voted on, but anyway. I asked the school district, please provide the letter from Whittier Union District requesting an opinion. Got that. That was Russell sending on behalf of the board.
I'd like to ask that you address me with
Number
my
2,
title. Thank you very much.
Please provide communication requesting trustee Mendez to resign from the Whittier High School Board, and communication where trustee Mendez declined to resign, as cited under the facts. That never happened. I was never asked, I was never emailed, never asked to resign. So this is information that LACO based from Whittier Union. Number 3, provide all agreements and documents that show that Whittier Union has an agreement with the Central Basin Water District to provide water to other agencies, as the letter said. Nothing provided, no documents exist. That was not provided by the school district. Number 4, please provide agreements and documents that Whittier Union also purchases water for its schools through Central Basin. That's one of their claims. information not provided, does not exist, the superintendent tells me. Number 5, please provide agreements and documents of administrative infrastructure improvements with Central Basin and Whittier Union's high school district. Document does not exist, the superintendent tells me. Number 6, please provide information on how Central Basin may overrule or remove members, dismiss employees, or exercise supervisory powers over Whittier Union. Does not exist. Never replied to. Number 7, please provide your analysis on how there is a possibility of a significant clash of duties or loyalty between the Office of Central Basin and Whittier. No information provided. Please provide documents that show how Central Basin Water District provides water directly to Whittier High School. Does not exist. What they mixed up is Whittier Union owns a well. They own a well. They lease it to a water company, Montebello Water Company. So that lease provides revenues of about $8,000 a year. Central Basin is administered and regulated by the Central Basin Water Master. Central Basin Water Master is administered by the Water Replenishment District because it is groundwater. Central Basin is surface water, imported water from Colorado and from the state system. That's what we deal with only, those two, in recycled water. So it's easy to mix up Central Basin Water Master with Central Basin Municipal Water District. So I asked Central Basin, and I asked them early. I asked them last year. It was kind of like, it wasn't in writing, but I asked them if they had any agreements and do they provide from water to Whittier Union. They said no back in November. And I asked through a PRA, I asked specific questions, again, that were on the Lake Cole letter. Lake Cole claims that there's these documents that exist. They would not have arrived at that unless they consulted Whittier Union High School District. They didn't just pull it out of the air. It was a claim by Whittier Union, carried out by Lake Cole. Question I gave Central Basin. Does Central Basin Municipal Water District have agreements and documents that show that Whittier Union High School District has an agreement with Central Basin Municipal Water District to purchase water? Their response, the district has determined that it does not possess records. Number 2, Central Basin Municipal Water District, does Central Basin have agreements and documents that demonstrate that the school district purchases water for its schools through Central Basin? The district has determined that it does not possess records to that effect. Number 3, does Central Basin Water District have agreements and documents that demonstrates that Whittier Union has administrative infrastructure improvements with Central Basin? No, does not exist. Is Central Basin in a position that it may overrule, remove members, dismiss employees, or exercise supervisory powers over Whittier Union High School District? No, it does not possess. 5, does Central Basin present circumstances where there is a possibility of a significant clash of duties or loyalties between the Office of Central Basin and Whittier Union High School District? No. Please provide documents that show that Central Basin provides water to Whittier Union High School District. The district has determined it does not possess records. 7, how does the school district provide water to other local agencies through Central Basin? The district does not provide water. So what it shows is that the Lake Cole letter was done as a favor, as Viviana admitted, specifically for the purpose of trying to get me removed. So their evidence, their facts does not exist. There's no documentation that says there's an agreement that the Central Basin provide water to the high school district. Does not exist. I would have never done that if we had a relationship. So They are both inconclusive. This one lies about the facts, and the new opinion is inconclusive. That's fine. I'm fine with that. You know, I'm really fine with that. I have a relationship with my constituents and my voters. There's nothing that you can do at this dais to remove me unless you go to the court. I'm happy to go to court with you and decide, let a judge decide. But all the information is going to come out. The relationship you have with Viviana, egging her on to do this, and she admits that, and you will find out. And also, so we're elected officials. We sit on this board and we sit on other boards. I remember a board member telling me that they are suspicious of an elected official that sits on more than one board. We have board members that sit on 3 to 5 different boards. They're not elected, but they have 3 to 5 different boards they sit on. Is there a conflict there? Maybe. There exists, this whole issue is about compatibility of office. Is there a conflict with me sitting on Central Basin Municipal Water District and Whittier Union? I don't think so. Do other board members have conflicts that would make them incompatible from being here? Yes. Russell works for Rio Hondo College. This board for the last 12 years have approved MOUs, contracts, while he was voting on it. That is against the law. Josefina Controla works for the Puente program. She approves contracts, she visits sites. She just recently went to a conference. That's a conflict of interest. Josefina Controla used the Whittier Union High School District address to run for office on the county website. That's a conflict. So, Irma Rodriguez is now counsel for Whittier College. Does Whittier Union have contracts with and MOUs with Whittier College? Yes. She stepped out for one, so I gotta give her credit for that. So, most of these board members have conflicts. If everything was fair and they were just trying to remove me, they would consider all of their actual conflicts. Mine is a hypothetical, existential conflict. It may happen. Central Basin may sell water to Whittier, and I tell you, that will never happen. Central Basin will never sell water to this district. But they have actual conflicts, and I'm gonna pursue them, because you do it for me, it's gotta be done to you. And this is also, it's about a revenge. This is, come on, just right straight out, this is revenge. Josefina mentioned it last meeting, that we're doing this to you because of what you did to us. I snitched on the Brown Act violation. If anybody violates the law on this board and has a Brown Act violation, I'm gonna snitch you out. And shame on Irma for showing up to that board meeting, being a lawyer, and making quorum.
Stick to board protocols
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
adhere to
Yes.
respectful
I appreciate
territory,
that.
please.
I've withdrawn.
Thank you.
So there's conflicts that exist on the board currently, actual conflicts. So we need to air that out. And I'm fine, take this as far as you think you could take it. My constituents voted for me, and you can't change that. I tell you how this could possibly work out. So they have to ask the AG for permission to sue. That's the process. I have my opinion from Central Basin already, and 3 other groups that says there is no incompatible office. Whittier Union has theirs. At $700 an hour, you get a pay. $700 an hour. So these opinions will go to the AG's office. The AG will decide. Should the AG decide to allow to sue, then we'll go to court. Money will be spent. Declining enrollment will continue to be an issue here with less money to spend on. And that's where the conflict, that's where the big divide happens. They hate me so much, they don't want me here. I'm from South Whittier. I represent immigrants, poor people. They're from the hills. That's what this is, socio-economical. That's what this is about.
Could you refrain from personal attacks, please?
Sorry, you just mentioned my name 50 times, so I don't know how it's a conflict.
Thank you for honoring our
So their intent is to remove me. Being elected from South Whittier was a mistake for them. So what's gonna happen, so the AG allows for a lawsuit, we'll go to court, we'll do all that, when you'll spend money, I'll spend money. And then should you be successful, because you could be successful, I don't know. And then this board will decide, appoint or go for an election. My community has fought and was so glad that the California Voting Rights gave us a voice. We are not, my constituents are not gonna give the decision to appoint to the people from the hills. We are not gonna do that. That's what this is about. It's about socioeconomics. And my community will force an election, and that will cost $1 million. All they have to wait is till next year. I'm up next year, 2026. What's the rush? What's the rush? Because they want to appoint, and that appointment leads to an election. That's what this is about. So rather than take the easy course, they're gonna take the costly course. And that's gonna cost us all money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. I have on my queue here Mr. Lopez, myself, Ms. Rodriguez-Moise, and Ms. Conchola.
Ms. Conchola, I'll defer to.
Mr. Lopez is going to defer to Ms. Conchola. Go ahead, Ms. Conchola, you have the floor now.
Thank you so much. I just feel that I need to respond to some of the comments that were shared by Mr. Mendez that are not factual. So I do sit on a board. I sit on the UC Riverside Board of Directors. I'm the board president. I do not get paid to be on the board. I did not get elected by the general community. I got elected by the UCI Alumni Association members. It's a very different thing than running for office in our community. I live in Santa Fe Springs. We do not have hills in Santa Fe Springs. I do not come from an elite community. My parents are humble people that were factory workers and they were migrant workers. And so when someone is trying to say my history and it's wrong, I feel like I need to correct it. So number one. Number two, I've been working for the Puente Project for almost 25 years. All I brought to my community and Whittier Union as a partner was opportunities for our students. When our students had the opportunity to go to Dodger Stadium with their families, get paid admission, get paid buses, get paid food, get all sorts of goodies from the Dodgers, that was me. I don't do this to myself, but I'm sharing it because I want you to know that any opportunity that I had, even when I was not an elected official in the Whittier Union High School District, I would bring it back to my community. You can verify my information with Ms. Lily Bo, who was the principal at the time of Pioneer High School when that opportunity was brought by me to our schools in Whittier Union. So secondly, I just want to confirm that because I do still work for the Puente Project, I did attend a conference in San Diego. It was not on Whittier Union money. And I have not had the opportunity to vote on any MOU regarding Puente because when I came in as a board member, the last MOU had already been signed. The next round of MOUs are coming in this March, and guess what? I will recuse myself from that vote. So when people are pointing fingers that are not correct information, I really felt like I need to clarify it. And it's not the first time that Mr. Mendez refers to me and to some of my colleagues on the diet as elitist. Am I an elitist because I have a college degree? I didn't get it for free. I worked my booty off to make sure that I had not only my bachelor's but my master's degree. I worked 2 and 3 jobs at a time to be able to afford it because my parents were blue-collar working class people. And yet he, when he was supporting my opponent, you know, went ahead and made this whole thing and said it in public. And I went to him directly and I said, Mr. Mendez, you don't have the right facts. And he said, it's my opinion. He wasn't basing his comments on facts. He was basing his comments on his own opinions and perceptions.
You need to rule on that. She's talking about.
And no, we're not going after
That's
you.
not district business.
We're not going after you, Mr. Mendez. We're doing the dual, we're just following up on a question that came up from our community. Just like you would have if it was the other way around. That's it, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Controla. Mr. Lopez, you deferred, so do you want to have the floor now? Okay, Ms. Rodriguez-Moisa?
Sure. Let me respond to a few of the, if you don't mind, let me respond to just a few of the, I think, issues that Mr. Mendez has raised with respect to the LACO opinion, and then also just a couple minor things. So I took a look at this opinion, and there's a lot of facts in it that are true. Trustee Gary Mendez was elected to the Board of Trustees in 2022 in Area 5. In November 2024, Mr. Mendez was elected to the Central Basin Water District, Division 2. Another fact, the two offices held by Mr. Mendez cover the same geographic area, according to maps provided by the district. That's true. Another fact that's true, there's no dispute that the two offices are public offices for purposes of the applicability of the doctrine of incompatible offices. Also true, the school district also purchases water for its schools through the Central Basin. And also true, under law, the Central Basin sets rates and handles various administrative and infrastructure improvements. Those are all true facts that the LACO rely on. Mr. Mendez is correct to point out that he was never asked to resign at that time. I don't know where that came from. But the basic facts are already in this opinion. Mr. Mendez, in closed session, raised this issue about the general counsel. I've known the general counsel for a long time. And so that he was somehow suspicious. And this is why I said to him, you know what? Let's go, and I think it was Mr. Lopez who requested the compromise. Let's go to a second opinion. I said, you know what? I'm okay with that. Because I don't want to have an opinion that you somehow feel was biased or somehow wrongly achieved. And so I said, you know, I want to get this right. Again, I respect the fact that he has been elected to these two offices. This is not a light decision, and obviously I know we're not making a decision. But I want to note that this LACO opinion contains many accurate facts that ultimately the Strumwasser and Wucher decisions also confirmed. But what they confirmed is this. While Central Basin doesn't have a direct contract with Whittier Union for us to purchase water from them, anybody who sells us water must buy their water from Central Basin. You cannot be a purveyor of water, sell water to anybody in this geographical area unless you buy the water from Central Basin, and hence the incompatibility of office. Because Central Basin has the right to charge an administrative fee, has a right to say how much water it's going to make available for sale, has the right to change certain rates on some of these waters that they sell to others, like Suburban, the City of Whittier, etc. And the Attorney General opinions, Mr. Mendez mentioned a number of people who have held these two offices. Well, I can tell you, no one ever raised an Attorney General opinion regarding those folks. But if you take a look at the Strumwasser opinion, in footnote 9, they list like 9 agencies who had a school district and a water board member. And in all of those decisions, they found there was incompatibility of office. And I don't know where some of these schools are. I don't know if they're Latinos or Caucasian, but I'm going to make an assumption for some of these that there are Caucasian board members who are trying to hold dual office. The Britton School District in the County of Sutter, Victor Valley Union High School in the Victor Valley County Water District, the Rim of the World Unified School District in Lake Arrowhead Community Services, Lakeside Union School District and the Padre Dam Municipal Water District, the County Water District and Baldwin Park Unified School District, and the Vineland School District Trustee in Lamont Public Utility District. Whoever those folks are that Mr. Mendez has mentioned, that's great. Maybe their boards didn't care or somebody, whatever. We care. We got requests from our constituents, and the reality is that we got the second opinion out of respect for Mr. Mendez and his concerns, and as a compromise, because it was a unanimous vote from all of us coming together to say, let's get this right. He's got these concerns, let's go through this. And clearly, the Strom Officer Moocher opinion letter, it seems, has all the relevant facts. And so the other part that I just want to mention, and I know Mr. Mendez has brought it up before, I do serve as general counsel to the Board of Trustees of Whittier College. And I've done that for about, 3 years or so. I haven't done it for a long time. Contract came up last year, and I specifically asked for legal counsel advice from our own general counsel. And I said, is this something that I can vote on? Is it not? I would have been prepared to resign, quite frankly. Is this a 1090 violation? And they assured me that it wasn't, and that so long as I recused myself, they didn't even think I had to recuse myself, but that they thought that would be the better decorum for me to do so, which I did. And so, I appreciate that Mr. Mendez wants to serve on both. And I appreciate that now that I've heard him, that he wants us to go all the way to court. I again respectfully ask that you resign your seat, let us move on from this. And this has nothing to do with personal politics, elitism, etc. Mr. Mendez, I have worked with you on many issues, including the drug issue in terms of how we're dealing with our students. You and I both brought that issue together.
You don't respect me, remember you said that?
I said that you had to earn being called president. That's what I said. Because I felt that before you took that office and the oath of being president of our board, that you had not respected me and you had not earned my respect. That's what I told you. I said, I'm not going to call you president. And that was true. So that's not a dispute. I've admitted that before to other folks. So folks, I'm just going to end my comments there, that while I respect the perspective that Mr. Mendez brings, obviously we disagree, and I think that the right thing to do is for him to resign. I asked him to resign. I think it's the right thing to do. And then obviously at some later point in time, we'll make a decision as to what the district will do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez-Moisa. Mr. Lopez, did you want to weigh in?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wonder, maybe a procedural question, Mr. Chair. Mr. Mendez did provide a document, or read a document of a PRA that he went to Central Basin. Can we have a record of that for each of us?
I don't see why not.
I'm sorry.
The question on the table is
He already
Mr.
shared it.
Lopez.
Yeah, so everybody has a document.
I'm not gonna, it's recorded, they can listen to it.
Oh, okay.
I have not seen the document.
I think it's in Mr. Mendez's position.
Okay. So, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, and Trustee Rodriguez-Moisa, I know she mentioned all these facts, with the Lakewood letter. Well, I can tell you a fact too. January 10th, 2025. 2, Russell Castellanos, present. I can read all these facts on this letter, right? But there's a lot of questions, and I think Mr. Mendez, addressed those concerns in the letter. And again, I'm not gonna operate on likely. Mr. Mendez just mentioned this, that he's gonna fight it, and I think that likely will be answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Mr. Mendez, go ahead. You have the floor.
This is personal. It's about politics, and I understand that. I've been in politics for a while. So there's always a bit of viciousness involved in it. And that's what's happening here, is that I ran a candidate against Josefina. The candidate lost, Josefina won. I said, congratulations, we have to move forward. But she said, remember what you did to us when I snitched you guys out for the Brown Act. I'm gonna continue to do things like that. Look, we're not models of each other. We are not the same people. We don't represent the same communities. I think that's obvious. I'm not saying that I'm any special, but I was elected to be here, and I'm gonna carry that out until, this board, it's personal. They need to remove me, so I'm not a problem. I understand that, and that's politics. The fact that you can't wait till 2026, you'd rather spend wholesalely, just quickly, without any thought about the budget, spend $700 an hour for new council. The opinion of our current council was not even asked. Two of us asked for their opinion of the current council. The majority said, no, we don't want their opinion. Well, I know why, because it's gonna be inconclusive. There's nothing in writing that says that there's a conflict. Trustee Irma keeps on urging this incompatibility. It's not incompatible until the court says it's incompatible. So for one person to say that, I don't believe you, I'm sorry. It doesn't exist at this point. There's conflicts on this board that are actual conflicts. They exist. Trustee Rodriguez Moisa admitted that it's not a potential conflict, it's not an existential conflict. The conflict exists. Whittier College, Puente, there's been several occasions where the conflict is so obvious that, but I don't want to litigate that here. I'm just going to go to the authorities and present the information and let them go with that. Russell has been on Rio Hondo for 12 years. I was on that board. When we started the outreach program to Whittier Union High School District, we got hired. There's tons of contracts and MOUs with Rio Hondo. That's unquestionable. And so they've been voted on. That's a real conflict. Mine's is existential, theirs is real. But that's fine, I understand politics. And so I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. So I'll be very brief. I know we have other items on our agenda tonight and we've had a robust discussion. There is one thing Mr. Mendez said, and I want to make sure I get it right. I think he mentioned something about we are not the same people. That is true, we are not, but I think we have more in common than we do in difference. And that's why we're on this board. That's why we choose to be here and spend our time serving. So after tonight, we still have to find a way to work together as a board for the next few months, as long as this process plays out.
I'm good with that.
Thank you, I appreciate you listening to my comments. And I'll close by saying this, the decision to run was not a coerced decision. Mr. Mendez decided to run on his own volition. And he claimed he did the research. Great. It does raise a question though about what should the registrar recorder share with candidates when they file? Well, if you win, you may have a compatibility issue. I don't know if that takes place, but that's something that maybe we need to look into. And then in terms of Section 1099, it's there for a reason. And I believe all parties in the district, all stakeholders, including students, staff, parents, families, they all deserve to have trustees who are singularly focused, that are not going to have potential conflicts. And then all stakeholders deserve undivided loyalty to serving on this board. It's very difficult to imagine one dividing one's time in between offices, dividing one's bandwidth in between offices. Logistically, it just sounds very, very difficult and complicated. And this district deserves board members that are focused and that are protected from potential, again, the word potential conflicts. The ruling over and over again said the conflict doesn't have to be actual. Just the potential is enough to trigger the bar, and that's what we're seeing here. Or that's what we could be seeing, the court will decide. So in terms of, I'll stop there. I was going to address the Rio Hondo College issue, but I think it's best if I don't, because we have other items on the agenda. And with that, I think we will go to 15.01.
I have a question. I'd like to schedule a meeting to decide if we're going to take any action. Does that happen at the very end, or should that be here?
It's not agendized.
Well, then we have the stuff at the very end, and it's agendized that's my question, I guess. My question is the process.
Then I'm going to make sure that perhaps 16.01 might be a good place to bring that up as a possibility for a future topic for a future meeting.
Thank you.
And I'll go through the...
Good point.
Yes.
President Castañeda, I know we're being recorded, so I just need to make sure to clarify a couple of things, just because it was put out there.
Sure.
Number one, Mr. Mendez has never told me congratulations for being elected, so verifying that. Number two, I have never ever had a conversation with him about getting back to him or getting back at him for anything. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, that has never come out of my mouth, because that's not the way that I function as a human being. So since we're being recorded, I want to make sure that my facts are put out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Canchola. Your courage to speak your truth is motivating me to speak my truth. And when I was first appointed to this board in 2010, I started refraining from anything that had to do with Villanova College, and that's on the record. You can look at the minutes. And the only board member that opposed my appointment, the attorney, Trustee Leighton Anderson, God bless him, he said, Russell, you don't have to keep abstaining. I'm like, well, I could have a potential conflict. I could. And finally, we consulted legal counsel at the time, and legal counsel at the time said, no, you don't have to abstain, there's no conflict. And so after that, I was given assurance that I could vote on these issues. So for the record, thank you, Trustee Canchola, because you just gave me the courage to speak my truth. So thank you very much. And your comments are duly noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
I need
Mr. Mendez, did you want to say something?
Just an opportunity to respond. So when I was talking about Josefina Control, I was talking about the comment made last month that I asked, why are you doing this? Because of what you did to us on the Brown Act. That's what that was referring to. And there was more than one witness here. So I'm not speaking out of turn here. What I'm saying is that you all have competing conflicts. There's this area of law that says, on the question of compatibility, do you have dual loyalties? Is there a potential conflict with them? And you mentioned your other boards. It could very well be that you have a circumstance where there's a possible clash, or where you have supervisory powers over others. You may have a conflict. So what I'm saying is that needs to be dealt with. So that's it. I'd like to conclude this whole thing.
Duly noted. I appreciate the board for having this robust discussion. I know it was a difficult one, but necessary, and it was really important to keep the public informed about our proceedings. That brings us to item 15.01, consider approval of work experience education secondary district plan and application. Dr. Vieto, I believe.
Yes, Mrs. Bozigian, please tell them about this plan.
Thank you, Dr. Oviedo. We are seeking board approval of the Whittier Union High School District Secondary District Plan and application for the Work Experience Education Program. The Work Experience Education Program provides students with valuable opportunities to connect classroom learning with real-world workplace experiences. The plan complies with all requirements outlined in the California Education Code 51760 and the California Code of Regulations under Title V. These regulations mandate that secondary school districts conducting work experience develop and submit a comprehensive plan adhering to state standards every 3 years. We respectfully request your approval of the Whittier Union High School District Secondary District Plan and application for Work Experience Education Program through June 2020.
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Bozigian, and thank you, Mr. Lopez, for moving approval. Is there a second?
A second?
Second by Trustee Moisa. Any discussion? No serious discussion from me, but just a point of order. Colleagues, notice that, thank you, Dr. Oviedo and Ms. Cedillo for linking this item to one of our board goals, which are now appearing as references in our minutes, or in our agendas.
Second that.
Thank you, sir. Call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? See none, looks like it passes 5-0. Thank you very much, Ms. Bozigian.
Thank you.
Great work.
That brings us to item 15.02, as we consider approval of J251 report and second interim financials. And colleagues, we do have a PowerPoint, and the slides are in front of us. Dr. Vieto?
And to share more, and for those of you that are in the room, in case we can't get the technology to move over. There are PowerPoint presentations over on the table. Mr. Jamero, our Deputy Superintendent, is going to bring you up to speed. Thank you, Marta.
Dr. Oviedo. I will be brief, considering an hour here. Tonight, we request for approval the second interim J251 budget. This is the Whittier Union High School District General budget through January 31st of 2025. So it is for this fiscal year. It's our most updated version. We'll start with the first slide on assumptions. You can see the difference between where we were at first interim and where we are now at second interim. It's not a lot has changed. We have a slight uptick in our unduplicated pupil percentage, our UPP, which triggers this a very slight of $1 per student per pupil funding increase. However, I would point out that our projected income has changed about 0.8%. You see in the bottom of the yellow column, and I'll talk about where that comes and just where that additional funding comes from in just a minute. You can see also that as part of our J251, we also include not only the current year, but the 2 out years in our assumptions. Comparing our income, you can see at first interim, we have our blue line, so you can see not much has changed in terms of income to our general fund, slight uptick in 24-25, and a slight, even slighter uptick in 26-27, based on our current income projections. What's triggering that is some one-time funding, primarily, as well as a slight increase in our average daily attendance reporting from the first portion of the year. We'll look at our major expenses, and I know we talked quite a bit about, as a people business, that a majority of our expenses come in the areas of salaries and benefits. So you can see slight changes from our first interim projections, 0.2 increase in certificated salaries, a 0.9 decrease in classified salaries, and our employee benefits, which include both statutory benefits as well as health and welfare benefits, a slight uptick at 0.4%. Looking at our expenses overall, the yellow line represents our second interim. The first blue column represents first interim. You can see that we're virtually the same, expending just about $100,000 fewer, $150,000 fewer than where we projected at first interim, with projected decline in our expenses in the 25-26 and 26-27 fiscal years. So the major changes, to summarize the changes from first interim, we do see about 1.9, just shy of $1.9 million in additional income, divided kind of into 2 different halves. The unrestricted piece, about $100,000 in projected interest. As you know, majority of our funds are kept in reserve at the county treasury. County treasury interest rates have been above 4% and have held above 4% at the county treasury for an extended period. We did not anticipate that for years and years and years. Our interest rate on county treasury reserves was less than 1%. So we are projecting about $100,000 more in additional interest over what we assumed at first interim. Additional, our projected summer school reimbursement is projected to be $103,000 more than what we projected at first interim. That will be for the first portion of the district's summer school program prior to July 1. And a very small uptick in local control funding formula, LCFF funding, $18,700. On the restricted side, we see a $314,764 increase in our projected federal funding, which is kind of interesting considering a lot of the conversation that we've had around federal funding. We submit a consolidated application for federal funds. As we fill out that application, you get a projected revenue. We see about $314,764 projected more in federal income this year. That's our Title I through Title V funding that we receive from Whittier Union. Equity multiplier funding, other state revenue, that falls in that category. We actually anticipate a decline of about $90,000. The equity multiplier is relatively new funding. So each year we get a estimated allocation from CDE, and we're seeing a dent in that projected income. The second to the last one, the CalShape reimbursement. If you recall, we're in the middle of a interior lighting and air conditioning review program. We did not bank the reimbursement. If you may recall, we applied for a grant for that, $1.5 million towards the installation of CO2 monitors as part of that project. We're getting half of that. $750,000 has now been received and accounted for in the CalShape reimbursement, as well as anticipated developer fees of about $600,000. Lastly, the last one walks up is as the administrative unit for our SELPA. They anticipated an increase in the budget of $98,800. We book that income in Whittier Union as the administrative unit, although we do not have powers to spend it. That slide didn't look like mine. Got a little bit of a distortion here. So what does this say? Let me summarize it for you. I hope it's better in your printed copy. Ultimately, we are affirming that we meet our ending fund balance minimum reserves for the current year as well as the 2 out years. As you recall, our estimated minimum reserve or minimum unrestricted reserve is about $7 million each year for this year and the next 2. We can demonstrate on this slide that we exceed that. Following any questions or comments, would request approval.
Yes, Mr. Mendez, you have a question.
So with declining enrollment hanging over us, do we have any warning when the bell may start ringing?
That's a good question, and this slide's supposed to demonstrate it. It's a little confused on the screen here, but when we look at the decline in our ending fund balance projections over time, you can see that we're going kind of on a downward trend. That's a bell ringing for me that we need to be diligent and continue to closely monitor our budgets to ensure that as we are declining in enrollment, recognizing we're declining in income. As we decline in income, we must decline commensurately in terms of our expenses.
Yes, Mr. Musa and Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Jamero, when do we expect an update from the governor's office about what's really going to happen? As I understand it, all of us in LA County got an extension of our tax returns again because of the fires. I don't know what impact that will have. And then also, of course, the uncertainty with the economy, but do we have a sense of when the governor's office will?
In May, typically we'll get another update in May at the governor's May revision. We do attend that. That's actually a online virtual workshop that we'll host and invite all of our partner associations to attend with us. The last time we had a delay in tax revenues, it created a significant ripple effect for a couple of years. As state revenue was over projected, and then when it didn't come in, we all felt that. So I'm hoping it's not the same effect, but do know that there will be some uncertainty related to that, and we may be delayed on when we can get an actual accurate forecast of what the state revenue looks like following that late filing period.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Jamero, can you talk about the declining enrollment fund? Is there any discussion on that?
But currently, we've been trying to hold on to the $4.6 million declining enrollment reserve. That is still maintained in this second interim budget. So we talked before, and I know, and I appreciate that's a question that something that you have an eye on.
Yes.
We've been able to maintain it as a parachute, and we like to think as that last reserve, and it sounds like a lot of money. But when you consider what payroll is monthly, $4.6 million doesn't get us through a month. You know, so really it's a short-term stopgap in the event of emergency. So we haven't touched it yet, but when you look at the trends on the page right now, we have 3 years. When you look at the years off the page, there will come a time potentially, unless we see larger COLAs that exceed our declining enrollment, then that might be a conversation we're gonna have to have.
Yeah, I do have, if we park funds such as the decline in enrollment fund, does it accrue interest?
It does, it does. The interest typically comes back as unrestricted revenue, and it's placed in the general fund.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Conchola, do you have any questions for Mr. Jamiro?
No, actually, I was gonna compliment him, you know, and the work of his team, because in these very challenging budgetary times, especially with so many uncertainties at both the state and at the national levels, compared to many other districts that I am familiar with, we're in a good standing ground. We're not in an ideal ground because there's a lot of unexpected and, you know, pieces of this conversation that we have no control over, like what the May revise is going to look like, for example. But I do want to compliment the good work of Mr. Jamiro and his team.
Thank you, Trustee Conchola. It really, truly is a team effort. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our fiscal director, Jimmy Escobar, who asked, should I be here tonight? And I told him I got it, because he preps me so well. So we do a lot of the budget development together and review all of our reports together. I always have a million questions, really in preparation to make sure I can answer yours.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Conchola. Thank you for sticking with us. We know it's after midnight for you. I have a couple things to add, and Ms. Conchola, thank you for saying what was in my head already. And I'll just add with saying this. What tonight's agenda does not have is a reduction in force. And I think that's because of not only the board's practice of fiscal conservatism, but also the board and the district and the leadership valuing our employees and making sure that we protect employees' jobs. And so for us to come back to the board, or come back to this room a year from now and to be able to also have a situation where we're not laying anyone off, we need to continue to be conservative, but also at the same point to value our employees. And so I think there's a middle ground to be struck, and I want to thank you, Mr. Jamiro, for your diligence. Colleagues, should we call the question?
Just one suggestion.
Sure.
You know, just one suggestion, Mr. Jamiro, next time, if the board agrees, just give us a timeline, you know, give us a timeline where it's at in the budget. That's all.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I'll call the question if no further discussion. All in favor for approving tonight's J251 report and second interim financials?
Just a quick point of order. Did we have a motion?
Oh,
Yeah, we didn't have a
Do we need
motion.
I don't think we did have a motion, so let me back up.
I'll second.
And entertain a motion, thank you. So it's been moved by Trustee Rodriguez-Moisa, second by Mr. Lopez. And we had our discussion, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, 5-0. Thank you very much, Mr. Jamiro, Mr. Escobar, and the whole team. That moves us to item 15.03.
I'll move it.
Been moved to approval by Mr. Mendez, second by Mr. Lopez. Any discussion on our CSBA delegate assembly slate? Question, Mr. Mendez.
Why isn't Jaime on here? I'm wondering.
It's a 2-year term. It's a 2-year term, so I'm not up.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, question addressed. Any other questions?
I have 2 people to well, actually, we have 5 votes, it says. So I don't know how that works. Can we double vote? Okay. Well, you know, I'm happy supporting all of them, but I especially would like to support the El Rancho and the East Whittier candidates. If it I'm sure it matters when it comes to balloting and voting, you know, to bullet vote everybody, wouldn't give anybody you like a chance in particular.
Thank you. I hear what you're saying. So are you proposing that we as a board move to only vote for 2 of these 5? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I'm open. So I'm saying that I would prefer our locals, and for me, that would be Christine. The Christines. There are 2 Christines on here. So the Christines is good luck. It sounds like a good luck thing.
Okay, Mr. Lopez and Ms. Rodriguez Moisa, do you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, I just want to talk about Christine Saavedra. She's just got elected. Okay, so for me, I know each of them personally. I just want to vote for all of them at the same time. And they work well together. So.
Thank you for that.
Four of the 5, I haven't worked with Christina just yet, but I'm sure she's a good addition.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you.
Ms. Rodriguez.
I'm looking at the ballot, and I don't know that you can do like all 5 ballots to one candidate or split them up. It doesn't look like that. We have one ballot we have to submit.
Oh, okay.
But I'm a big fan of Dr. Concio as well, and so he's been a good partner, I think. But I would certainly support the board approving the whole slate.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm hearing a consensus forming around approving the slate of 5. Is that correct?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
And I agree with that. And I agree with that as well. I mean,
Yes.
it says on here there's 5 seats. There's 5 candidates. They're all local people. So definitely.
Excellent. Okay. And has a motion been made? Yes, it was. It was made by Mr. Mendez, seconded by Mr. Lopez. I'll call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstaining? Seeing none, 5-0. Thank you very much. That brings us to item 15.04, as we consider approval of the personnel report and report of educations. Ms. Fitzgerald.
Good evening. I'm very excited to bring to you tonight, we have 6 new classified employees to bring on board, including our new Director of Food and Nutrition Services. Any questions?
Any questions, Mr. Mendez?
Speaking of resignations, I'd like to move this whole thing. And nothing related, I'm just moving the item.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Mendez, seconded by Mr. Lopez. Any discussion on personnel report? No discussion. Seeing none, I call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Well, I didn't ask for no's or abstentions. Okay, 5-0. Okay, that brings us to our new item board, 16.01. This is recommendations for future agenda items as discussed during our BSE on March 1st. And just if you can indulge me, I just have a couple of comments to make. In this item, I asked you, and this is just a request, it's not binding, but I respectfully ask that you align your suggested item, if you have a future agenda item, with one of our 4 board goals that we established last March, which are listed on our placemats right here as a quick reminder. And, or if it's aligned with an LCAP priority or a district goal, that's fine as well. And that helps us to know for future planning for our board agendas. So far in 2025, I'd just like to make the entire board aware that I did receive one request in writing on January 22nd from Trustee Rodriguez Moisa. I believe these items may warrant a presentation at some point. One was requesting an update on how we're mitigating declining enrollment and maybe possibly involving use of social media. And then secondly, some type of sharing of the percentage of our seniors who are getting Ds and Fs, and some type of analysis as to why this is and what can be done. So, Ms. Rodriguez-Moisa, are those 2 still standing requests?
Yes, and what I'd like to tie on the declining enrollment is a presentation of what we did this past year to promote our schools, what the numbers look like. My understanding, we may have even retained somebody to take a look at demographic changes, and so if there's that. And then I saw, and if the board will indulge, because I would like to see us add to this, we got a report in our board weekly update about the schools and in open enrollment, and the cap at Lucerna we hit the 200 there, but I forget how many students we had that didn't get admitted. I'd like to have that topic brought up to see what happens to those students if they don't get into Lucerna. Can we lift that cap so that we we don't lose students who would otherwise go to Lucerna and instead go somewhere else. I'd like to see if there could be an analysis of that as well. I think it's tied into declining enrollment.
Okay, before I go to other trustees, I just want to test the climate. Is there collective interest in these topics brought forth by Trustee Rodriguez-Musa?
Yeah, I would like to join in. I think I heard you say about the CD and F analysis.
That's the second topic, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
no, it was the Ds and Fs by our seniors, remember, 25%,
Right, right.
yes.
Yeah, so I'd like to take a deep dive and spread it out to CDs and Fs. I know we could really talk about GPA, but however you want to spread it out and analyze it, I think would behoove us.
Okay.
So that's a yes.
Noted, thank you very much. Any other comments joining in on that? Mr. Lopez, Ms. Conchola?
I was going to actually talk about it and a couple of other areas that I'm interested in hearing about.
Oh, okay.
So,
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure, did anyone have their hand up before Ms. Conchola? Okay, Ms. Conchola, if you could hold on to your future agenda items. I think next in line we had Mr. Lopez, and then Mr. Mendez, and then we'll come back to Ms. Conchola.
Trustee Rodriguez-Moisa, I definitely agree with you on this, on the cap with Lucerna. In addition, I don't know if it's the right time, but I want to know if we're losing, if the kids are trying to get to Lucerna that live, say, maybe outside that area, and how many of them are being denied, you know. So, because I hear that we're losing kids to Los Altos, right? So I want to know if those kids are being, say, live in the district and say Lucerna, right? They're their first choice, and they're denied, they go to Los Altos, right? I just want to maybe see an analysis of those kids that are being denied and where they're going afterwards. You know, if they're not going to choose any other school, where are they going? So definitely want to look at that. And then also for my understanding, Mr. Chair, for this item, I thought we're just going to discuss, and I apologize if I understand the item. I thought, were we supposed to give you items beforehand?
Not necessarily. I mean, if you want to bring
I
it up in these
apologize.
meetings, that's fine too. It
Okay.
can be done either way.
Okay.
But this, you now have an opportunity, so that way you don't have to resort to emails. Now you can speak about it publicly. And part of the reason why we're welcoming this discussion, I want to be able to give Dr. Oviedo a chance to see if there's consensus building around a few of these topics.
Okay, then if that's the case, I'm going to hear that.
Sounds great. Mr. Mendez was in the queue as well, but Ms. Conchola, go ahead.
So I'm interested in hearing about the first year of our new principals. Kind of an update on how things have gone for them, what have been some of their, their triumphs during the academic year, what have been some of their challenges, how can we help? I'm also interested in we have student reports, we have reports from our staff. I'm interested in hearing from the parents as well. I don't know how we can incorporate, maybe a one-parent report of some of the leaders in all of our school sites. And I'm also interested in hearing an update on the mariachi effort.
Noted. Thank you very much. Colleagues, is there interest in any of the items that Ms. Conchola has brought forth for our consideration? Mr. Mendez.
I'd like to expand the mariachi thing, because what's happened organically at our high schools is the students are taking up banda, and they're actually doing it at our graduations outside in the parking lot. And so I'd like to put that as part of the exploration.
Thank you. And I join in that interest in the mariachi, and whether it expands or whether it stays mariachi. I'm open to hearing more about that, so thank you for bringing that up.
I would support all three topics as well.
Good to know. Thank you very much. And you as well. Thank you.
What was the 30%?
I'm sorry.
Just trying to make sure that I'm getting.
Mr. Lopez. And then, oh, sorry, did I skip Mr. Mendez?
Yes.
Mr. Mendez.
You can let him go first, he's anxious.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
very excited.
Thank you.
Why? Because today we saw leaders, also known as coaches, and here in our boardroom, and we had 4 or 5 that just won CIF. Southern section is super, super difficult to win, okay? Let alone a state title, super difficult. But I looked at the personnel report, they don't get a lot of money, okay? They don't get a lot of money. The stipend's low, but they put so much time and effort into developing kids and making them champions, just like we saw today. I would love to see a resolution to recognize the coaches, all the coaches, not assistant coaches, all the coaches throughout our district, and just recognize them for their hard work and dedication. And there are a lot of, it's a sacrifice. I've been a coach, you know, a lot of time away from their families. So I just want to, you know, do our due diligence and recognize them with a resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for that. And is there interest among other colleagues in recognizing our coaches?
I would join in on that if the administration would come up with what time of year to do that. I think that's a wonderful thing. I think we should give them something.
I joined in that as well in terms of some type of recognition at some focusing event. I don't know if there's like coach, like
give them a medal or something.
Coaches of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, just a coach recognition week or something.
Okay, I hate to be a wet blanket, but you have to be careful not to carry over. You're bringing ideas forward, even if only for purposes of discussion, into an unagendized matter being discussed. So once you start talking back and forth,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
And I need to think of a better way of gauging joint interest in possible future topics, but I don't want to violate the Brown Act, obviously.
And you've identified it organically right now as to, you know, where you cross the line, so to speak. So
Sure.
present the ideas, take it, put it on the next agenda to talk about.
Mr. Mendes?
I would say I would refrain from gathering a consensus.
Oh, okay.
But I'm ready to go.
Yes, I'm ready to call on you. Please, you have the floor.
Okay, so I wanted to revisit, to put back on the agenda BP 9310. It went through first reading. I think there was a grammar correction by Ms. Rodriguez, and we could look at the recordings for that. And I'd like to see that come back.
I think you have some interest in corrections from your subcommittee partners and waiting to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm getting my schedule tomorrow, so
Hallelujah.
we'll be determined, we'll be ready. But is that something that'll be put as an action item, or what?
Well, I think we need to finish our work as a subcommittee.
So this has to wait, you're saying?
My recommendation is that we finish the 9,000s, and this is one of the 9,000s. So that way we can, because I understand there are other things besides 9310 that also we wanted to get board buy-in from. There's like a whole checklist of items that you and I have identified already. So I'd like to bring that in mass in one fell swoop.
As opposed to individually, like it's the course.
My preference is that we finish our work as a subcommittee and then we bring it to the board.
So this will be considered in the committee?
Yes, I would appreciate that, because the last time we tried bringing things to the floor, our colleagues rightfully reminded us, why are we getting into the nitty-gritty on some of these policies? Let's just get a recommendation from the subcommittee, and then we can act as a whole.
So I'm gonna give this to Irma, and she can make her corrections that she proposed, and then give it to the committee.
I think this is the one, I did have some grammar errors, but I think this is the one where I had requested to make sure we're not using or implicating the issue of shared governance.
Yeah, I don't
And I
use
don't
that
think
term.
we've seen that yet.
I'm thinking so to ensure that we don't go outside of the agenda, as Mr. Gallagher has said, I'm happy to do a board weekly update on where we are with respect to that, because we are still waiting for something from Mr. Gallagher. That's okay.
Okay. And then Ms. Rodriguez-Mueza.
I'd like to have us come up with another topic, revisiting this topic of the incompatibility of office, but that it would actually be as an action item as opposed to a discussion item. The action may pass, may not pass, but I think that there needs to be an agenda that says it's an action item. I would also request that it be a special meeting, that we don't have to wait another 30 days. I think this is very important. Obviously, we've all seen the opinion, we received it on Friday, so that would be another request.
But I'm trying to, so are you proposing the process?
I'm proposing the agenda item, and I'm also requesting that it be a special meeting, because I don't think we should wait for 30 days.
So I'd like to ask General Counsel to help guide us with this request. So in terms of the two requests that have been made by Trustee Rodriguez-Moiza, the first was to the proposed action item for a future board meeting. And the second request was for this particular action item to be brought up in the context of a special board meeting.
That subject matter could be considered at a special board meeting. And in regard to whether you need to take action to set a special board meeting, you do not. And it's not something that would need to be agendized. The board could actually meet solely for the purposes of scheduling a special meeting. So, but since you're all here, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and, if you're going to do that, coordinate your dates. Did I answer your questions?
Yes, and does the board act allow me to turn to my colleagues and start asking them to open their calendars to if there's consensus to schedule a special board meeting on this particular topic?
Yes, because I would say it falls within the exception to the Brown Act to coordinate in order for a majority to call a special meeting. That's expressly allowed by the Brown Act, so yes, you can do it.
Okay. But I can't see if there's consensus for a special board meeting scheduling process right now.
No, you can.
I can, okay.
Correct.
So colleagues, I'm checking in. Trustee Controlla, Trustee Lopez, Trustee Mendez, what are your thoughts on scheduling a special board meeting before our April 10th, I don't know what date that, 8th, before April 8th regular board meeting, to discuss the action related to the incompatibility issue?
I would definitely agree with that.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Controlla. And you're prepared to offer some dates tonight?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else want to weigh in with your thoughts on that? Okay, silence. I think it's important to schedule this meeting as well. I know it's going to be really hard to find a date that's good for all of us, but I think we need to try. So
I have a quick request.
Yes, request.
Can we expand it to talk about all of our conflicts, so that it's an inclusive item?
I'd say more about why the incompatibility issue would relate to those of us that are not holding two offices.
Well, because it's about conflicts and loyalties, and just like conflicts, loyalties, whether we have a supervisory powers over the district in our employment or other boards that we serve on. Yeah.
I don't believe that was in the spirit of the request made by Trustee Rodriguez-Moiza, but to clarify, Trustee Rodriguez-Moiza, would this special board meeting deal with the conflicts that Mr. Mendez is referring to?
That's not my request. My request is to focus on the incompatibility of office issues that have been raised by the two opinion letters. I think that if we're going to have a discussion down the road about these other conflict issues, we probably would have to go through a similar process, requesting that we agree that we want an opinion letter, so that we all know what the legal rules are. We've got two legal opinions here, so I would focus this one solely on, are we going to take any action related to these opinions? So I would not believe it's appropriate to mix the two at that meeting.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
But it doesn't prevent it, though. It doesn't prevent.
Mr. Lopez, do you have your hand?
I think, again, please stop me if I'm trying to gather more than two opinions here. But what I heard from Trustee Rodriguez-Moiza is that she's okay for having a meeting about these other conflicts, supposed conflicts. I don't want to call them conflicts. And maybe we can discuss that at our next future meeting, and not the special meeting, but
Somewhere down the road.
somewhere along the road.
That's correct, Mr. Lopez. I
Is
think
that
it should be separate, but I think if there's a consensus of the board that we should get legal opinions on those things.
Okay, so a board, going back to my original point, I'd like to have you consult calendars to identify days when we can schedule a board meeting between now and April 8th. So you can take out your calendars. And let's see, I'd like to start with you'll have your calendars in front of you? Okay. Should we start by looking at next week? Week of the 17th to the 21st? What is your availability for that week? We can go one person at a time.
I'm available the Saturday the 22nd in the morning.
Is that the only day you're available that week?
Saturday morning.
I didn't mean to talk over you, I'm sorry, Ms. Conchola. Is that the only day you're available?
I said that I'm available the Saturday morning, the 22nd, as a possibility.
Thank you. Is that the only day you're available that week?
I could do the 19th in the evening.
Thank you. I'll go next. I can do the evening of the 17th, the 18th, or the 19th. And those are the only 3 nights I can do that week. I'm out of town starting the 21st.
If we did, I'll go next, the 19th, it definitely would have to be evening for me, probably 6:30 or 7. And I am available on the 22nd as well. Let me see the 17th. I'm also available the 17th, but I think Ms. Conchola is not, so.
Correct. So far, Mr. Lopez?
19?
I can move something around on the evening of the 17th if we need to.
Thank you for offering that, Ms. Conchola. Yes, go Mr. Mendez, not over there.
Not available the 21st, 22nd, out of town.
Okay.
I teach the Mondays and Wednesdays from 5 to 8. The 18th, I am not obligated to teach.
Which means you're available potentially on the 18th?
Right.
I'm not available on the 18th.
Okay. So we have 2 people not available on the 18th, right? Well, that won't work.
And I apologize, but for the 19th,
You said
what was this?
6:37.
6:37, would that work for you, Mr. Mendez?
5 to 8, I teach.
5 to 8. And it would take you, 20 minutes, half an hour to get here?
Just 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Would having a meeting at 8:15 be too late? On the 19th?
Not for me.
It's not ideal, but I'm willing to do it. Ms. Conchola, are you available at 8:15 p.m. on March 19th?
Really want to do this, huh?
Say that again, you broke up a
Well,
little
some of us
bit.
are leaving
I'm
town.
sorry, you broke up, I didn't hear what you said.
We're looking, well, I'm still waiting to hear from our colleagues, but we're looking at March the 19th at 8:15 p.m. as a start time to try to accommodate Mr. Mendez's schedule.
That would be a little tough for
Okay.
me, only because I still have young children. So,
Understood. Okay. We might have to look at another week. And unfortunately, I'm out of town the week of the 24th. How about the week of March 31st through April 4th? Ms. Conchola, we're looking now at the week of March 31st through April 4th.
I'll start on that week.
Mhm.
I'm only available March 31 and April 1st. If we did it any other day, I'd have to be remote.
Got it. Thank you very much.
I'm available second, third, fourth, in the evening though. 7.
And so you're not available the 31st or the 1st? Okay. Then you are available.
I can do the first.
I'd rather not.
I can do either the 31st or the 1st.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Conchola. I'll go next. I can do the 31st, the 1st, the 2nd, or the 3rd. Okay, and then Mr. Mendez?
3rd through 5th, I'm out of town.
Mhm.
31st and the 2nd, I still have the 5 to 8, so I'm available after.
Oh, okay, and then April 1st?
As a Tuesday, I'm
Mhm.
open.
Okay.
April
So
Fools.
there's one of us, I think it's Mr. Lopez is the only one not available April 1st, correct?
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Okay.
I'm not being suspicious, but I'm being cautious.
Superstitious.
Well, could you do a remote, or is it an hour? Because
I think that'll work. I think Mr. Mendez is available on the 2nd, on the 31st.
no, he said he's not available the
Oh.
31st or the 2nd.
After 8.
Not available.
31st, yeah,
Okay.
not great.
But that poses a problem for Ms. Conchola because of your family issues, childcare. So, I mean, I'm happy to do 8:15. That is not as ideal for the time.
31st, after 8.
After 8. 31st after 8.
Yeah, that works for a few of us, but not for all of us. Right. Ms. Conchola, we're revisiting March the 31st, but after 8 o'clock. And I imagine that you still have the same issue in terms of family and childcare, correct?
Yeah, well, if we do the 31st, let me just, I'll double check to see if I could get some childcare. I'll go ahead and commit to the 31st.
Thank you for being willing to do that. That's a big lift. So to give Mr. Mendez some travel time after your instruction from 6 to 8, should we say 8:15?
Sure.
Yeah. Ms. Rodriguez-Moise and Mr. Lopez, 8:15?
15?
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So March 31st, April 15th, I'm sorry, 8:15 p.m. Special board meeting. Mr. Gallagher, is there anything else we need to know, or we've done things I just want to make sure we're above board.
Yeah, you're good. So
All right, thank you.
the reasoning behind that is you don't have to have a agendized meeting in order to have a majority of the board meet to schedule a special meeting.
Okay.
So all of that's exempt
Thank you.
by law.
Grateful for that exemption. Colleagues, any other agenda items to consider? If not, I just want to ask your indulgence for a little patience. I had some notes I wanted to share. Your requested agenda item may not appear on the following month's agenda. Please be patient as accommodating the agenda items will take time. I'll be working as a team with Dr. Oviedo to plan for the future. I think we have enough agenda items for the next 2 years, which is wonderful. And again, I wanted to identify direction from the board without violating the process. So that was and it's not going to be a perfect process, but over time we'll fine tune the system. Thank you. Okay, so I think we've reached adjournment to closed session. We do have, I believe, 2 more items, so I will recess us back into closed session.
We have 2 more items in closed session?
Yes, I believe we finished one item, and then we have another item that we haven't started yet. We'll talk in more detail about it.
And cut. Leave this here for